The new year. For as long as I can remember, New Year's Day was just another date, another day that came and went, another excuse for people to party, post, celebrate, and I never really understood why. I never felt anything special about it. I used to think, what's the point? A new year comes every year, nothing changes. But this year, something is different, and I can feel that. For the first time ever, I feel like this year actually holds something special. Something meant just for me. This new year isn't just a calendar change, it's a life change. I want to believe, with every cell in my body, that this year has arrived, and it feels like it's part of the same plan, the plan that God and I have been carving together for years. It's that year where the universe, the grind, the sleepless nights, the sacrifices, and the quiet work I've been doing for years all aligns perfectly. This year, I'm not sitting back hoping for things to change. I'm not waiting for luck to knock on my door. I'm not wishing on stars or crossing my fingers. No, this year is about pure, full power execution. This year is about using everything I've learned, every mistakes, every learning, every sleepless night, every words that I wrote, every melody I prepared, every dream I visualized. I've found the missing pieces. Yes, I've done it. And honestly, it took years for me to accomplish that. All those gaps, all those things I couldn't understand or fix before, they finally make sense now. It's like my soul finally doubted the full picture. The last puzzle pieces clicked in. The vision is clear now. The fire inside me, unshakable. And the mission, locked in. This year, I'm going all in. No compromises, no half steps, no distractions, no excuses. I've trained for this. Mentally, I'm tougher than ever. Emotionally, I've matured and become grounded. Strategically, I've sharpened every angle of my plan. Patience-wise, I've built the kind of discipline that only years of delay can teach you. And energy-wise, I'm ready to use 100% of my power. Every drop. This isn't just a new year for me. This is the starting of a new life. The life that I always dreamt of living. A total 360 flip from where I used to be. This is the year where I do what I was born to do. This is the year where music becomes more than a dream or vague plan. It becomes my reality. This is the year where I finally give the world something remarkable, something that'll make people stop and say, damn, he did it. Not just one song, not just a flash in the pan, but a movement, a sound, a message, a wave. My name, my craft, my truth, reaching people, touching souls, changing lives. I see the name, the fame, the money. Yeah, I see all of that. But more than that, I see the peace. I see the happiness. I see myself living the life I always wanted to live, finally. Not in a fantasy, not someday, but now. I can feel it coming closer, like the air before a storm, like the ground shaking before something massive erupts. I don't just believe in it, I know in it. I know it. This year is the turning point. This year is the one that changes everything. After this, my life will never be the same again, because I'm not the same anymore. So to this new year, I say welcome. I've been preparing for you for a long time. I've fallen, failed, cried, doubted, and crawled my way through countless days just to reach you. And now that you're here, I'm ready. Not hoping, not dreaming, but doing, fully, fearlessly, relentlessly. This is not like every other year. This is my year, and I will remember it as the one where I became who I was always meant to be. ITS my year. I've always thought of New Year's as just another day on the calendar, a day that comes and goes without meaning. Every year, it would arrive, people would celebrate, make resolutions, and then forget them in a few weeks. It always felt like the same cycle repeating itself. But this year, something feels different. Something has shifted inside me, and I can feel it. It wasn't one big moment that changed everything. I didn't suddenly wake up and have a life-changing realization. No, it was more like a slow awakening, piece by piece. I've been finding the missing parts of my life, my purpose, my vision, my strength. It feels like I've been quietly preparing for years, and now all the pieces are coming together. When this year started, it didn't feel like any other year. January 1st felt different, almost alive with possibility. I can't explain it perfectly, but it feels like this year is meant to be. Every struggle, every doubt, every failure led me here. I feel ready in a way I've never felt before, a readiness that comes from preparation, experience, and inner growth. This feeling isn't temporary. It's not just a rush of energy or motivation that will fade in a few weeks. No, it's deeper than that. I feel it in my bones, in my soul. I've spent years learning, growing, and preparing. The missing pieces are finally in place. I can feel it in my gut. I have everything I need to move forward and make this year meaningful. I've never been one to wait for signs or hope that things will magically happen. But now, it feels like the universe is aligning in my favor. I'm not waiting. I'm taking action. I've done the work, and it's time to see the results. This year, I finally feel the strength, focus, and clarity I've been building for years, ready to create the life I've been preparing for. This year isn't just a new beginning. It feels like the start of something real. This is the year my music will be louder, stronger, and more powerful than ever before. It's the year my plans will finally take shape in ways I never imagined. This isn't just a dream anymore. It's a plan, a clear, solid plan that has been years in the making, built with lessons from every failure, every setback, and every mistake I've faced. For so long, I tried to explain my vision to others. I shared my ideas, my dreams, hoping someone would understand, hoping someone would see what I could see. But most people couldn't. And that's okay. It wasn't meant for them to see. This vision is mine. And now, I'm learning that I don't need anyone's approval. I don't need anyone to validate where I'm going or what I'm doing. The only thing that truly matters is that I believe in it. I can see it clearly now, and nothing can shake that belief. I don't need anyone's support to keep moving forward. I've realized this journey, my journey, was never about making others understand. It's about finding the strength to believe in myself when no one else did. It's about trusting the process, even when I felt alone. And now, stepping into this year, I know more than ever that I'm on the right path. There were times I doubted myself, times I questioned if all the effort was worth it. I was told it was impossible, that my dreams were too big. But now, I've stopped listening to the noise. I've stopped caring about the people who tried to limit me with their own fears and doubts. I'm not here to fit anyone else's idea of success. I'm here to create my own path, my own version of happiness. This year, I'm done explaining myself. I'm letting my actions speak for me. My work, my dedication, and my belief will be louder than words. People will feel the energy, passion, and commitment in every note of my music and every step I take. I won't need to convince anyone. They'll see it for themselves, and that will be enough. I know there will be moments when people doubt me. They might laugh, mock, or try to put me down because they don't understand. But I've realized that's not my problem. I can't control what others think, and I don't need to. What matters is that I trust myself. What matters is that I'm doing this for me, for the life I've always dreamed of, and for the music that lives inside me. I'm not here for validation. I'm not here for applause. I'm here to create something real, something extraordinary. This year, I'm giving everything I have, every bit of energy, every ounce of passion, every piece of my heart. I'm not holding back anymore. This is my time. I don't need anyone's permission to chase my dreams. I don't need anyone to understand my journey. All I need is belief. Belief in myself, in my plan, and in the path I've built. I'm not waiting for a miracle. I'm making my own. This year, I step into my power, I step into my purpose, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop me. Success. Success can never be just one thing. It's like survival. You need air, water, food, and shelter. You can't say only air matters. No, you need all of it in the right amount. Success is the same, a fragile but beautiful balance of different forces coming together. It's a puzzle that requires many pieces to be complete. Giving credit to only one factor, whether it's luck, hard work, talent, or connections, would be unfair, because it dismisses all the other elements that played a role in shaping the journey. Every piece matters. Every moment, every decision, every opportunity, and even every setback has its place. Success is that complete puzzle, and it only becomes whole when all the pieces come together. That's why each piece, big or small, seen or unseen, is equally important. There are other pieces too, ones we often overlook. Timing is a big one. Being in the right place at the right time can change everything. Then there's the support system, the friends, family, mentors, and even silent well-wishers who keep you going when things get tough. Your mental strength, emotional resilience, ability to handle rejection, and capacity to learn from failure, all of these are crucial pieces too. Even your past struggles, heartbreaks, and breakdowns secretly shape you into someone stronger, more prepared. Things like exposure, resources, networking, even luck. They don't work alone. They work together. So when success happens, it's not just because one piece was strong, it's because the entire puzzle, with all its complicated, hidden, and powerful parts, finally came together. When you do something you love, when you do something you love, you start feeling good about yourself and your life. The more you succeed at doing what you love, the more you begin to love yourself and everything around you. The world suddenly becomes a beautiful place to live in, and you start feeling real happiness. The happiness of simply being yourself without filters. It's the joy of making a difference, creating an impact, giving value to the world by doing something that resonates with your core values and strengths, something you're truly meant to do. When you do something you genuinely love, everything changes. You begin to feel good about yourself and your life, not because everything is perfect, but because your heart is involved in what you're doing. There's a deep sense of meaning that starts to build inside you, something that can't be faked or forced. The more you succeed in doing what you love, the more confidence you gain. You begin to appreciate yourself in ways you never did before. You realize that you are capable, worthy, and valuable, not just to yourself, but to the world around you. You start loving yourself more, and with that, your life becomes more colorful. Even ordinary days begin to feel special. The world, which once felt heavy and complicated, suddenly seems beautiful and full of possibilities. That's the magic of doing what aligns with your soul. You begin to feel a kind of happiness that isn't based on status, money, or what people think. It's the happiness of simply being yourself, unfiltered, honest, and alive. You're no longer just existing. You're making a difference. You're creating impact. You're adding value to the world by doing something that resonates deeply with your core values and natural strengths. It feels right, like you're finally doing what you were meant to do all along. That's the real win, not fame or followers, but the inner peace and joy that comes from living your truth. When you find that, you don't just survive, you thrive. Life has a funny way of reminding us that no matter how many people surround us, our journey is ultimately ours alone. Friends, family, and loved ones may walk beside us for a while, but when the real challenges hit, when the weight of decisions, pain, or even success lands on our shoulders, we realize that we're the ones who have to carry it. People come and go. Some stay for a season, others for a reason, but very few remain through every storm. And that's not necessarily their fault. It's just how life works. Everyone is fighting their own battles, chasing their own dreams, or drowning in their own struggles. When you're in the thick of it, you realize that the only person who truly has to show up for you is you. There's a strange power in that loneliness, though. When you accept that you're the one responsible for your happiness, your survival, and your growth, you stop waiting for others to save you. You stop expecting someone else to fix things, to understand, or to share the burden equally. Instead, you become your own anchor. You learn to rely on your strength, your instincts, and your resilience. That doesn't mean life has to be cold or isolating. Connection is still beautiful, and love still matters. But the difference is, you no longer depend on it to keep going. You appreciate those who stand by you, but you don't crumble when they don't. You celebrate companionship, but you also embrace solitude, because you know, deep down, that you're enough on your own. So yeah, life happens, and you're alone in it. But maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that's the universe's way of forcing you to become the strongest version of yourself. Because when you realize no one is coming to rescue you, you stop waiting and start fighting. And that's when you truly begin to live. Arrogance. Power and success can dramatically change a person's psychology and behavior. And this is something many of us witness in real life. When someone starts out, especially in challenging circumstances, they tend to rely on others, family, friends, mentors, or colleagues. That dependence often keeps people humble because they recognize the importance of connection, support, and mutual respect. But when a person gains power, whether it's wealth, status, or influence, they often feel less dependent on others. This newfound independence can sometimes lead to a dangerous mindset, the belief that they no longer need anyone else. This shift can make people less empathetic, more arrogant, and even rude, as if their success has somehow put them on a higher plane than those around them. It's as if their social bonds weaken, and they start to isolate themselves emotionally, thinking they're above the ordinary rules of kindness and respect. This change isn't inevitable for everyone, but it's common enough to be worrying. The loss of humility is perhaps the biggest danger that comes with power. Humility is what keeps us connected to reality and to other people. It reminds us that no matter how much we achieve, we're still part of a larger community, and our success is often built on the help and support of others. The key takeaway, then, is to remain grounded no matter what level of success or power you reach. True strength lies not in distancing yourself from others, but in staying kind, respectful, and humble. These qualities don't diminish your power. Instead, they enrich it. People who remain humble and kind tend to build stronger, more lasting relationships, and they inspire loyalty and respect in others. In contrast, arrogance might bring temporary advantage or ego boosts, but it rarely lasts. Life has a way of humbling those who forget their roots and start treating others as beneath them. So the best approach is to embrace humility as a lifelong mantra. No matter how high you climb, stay kind, stay humble, and never forget the importance of others in your journey. Your plan. There are moments in life when things fall apart. You find yourself in situations you never imagined, stuck in a place you didn't choose, confused by how it all went so wrong. Maybe it was a bad decision, maybe an unexpected setback, or maybe life just threw one of those random curveballs. Whatever the reason, you're here now, frustrated, overwhelmed, maybe even depressed or angry. And in those moments, it's easy to spiral. You start replaying your mistakes, questioning your worth, or wishing you could just rewind time and do it all differently. You get caught in this loop of what ifs and if onlys. But the truth is, none of that changes anything. You're still here, still stuck, still dealing with what's in front of you. And that's when the real question shows up. What is the best thing I can do right now? Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. In this exact moment, what is the single best move I can make? It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to fix everything. Maybe it's just getting out of bed. Maybe it's taking a deep breath. Maybe it's sending that message, making that call, writing down a plan, drinking some water, or going for a walk. Maybe it's forgiving yourself. Maybe it's saying enough and finally letting go. The point is, progress doesn't always look like success. Sometimes progress is just choosing not to give up, to take one small, solid step forward when everything inside you is screaming to quit. And when you keep doing that, asking yourself, what's the best step I can take right now? You slowly build momentum. You don't need to have your entire life figured out. You don't need to know how the story ends. You just need to focus on the next move, the next best action that aligns with your values, your goals, your healing, or simply your survival. There's power in presence. When you stop panicking about the past or obsessing about the future and focus moment, you gain clarity. And clarity breeds action. And consistent action, no matter how small, leads to growth. That's how you rebuild. That's how you progress. So yeah, life gets messy. People make mistakes, plans fall apart. But if you're still here, you've got options. Don't waste your energy regretting where you are. Use it to move forward. Slowly, steadily, with purpose. Because no matter how dark or confusing things seem, the question that brings you back to life is simple. What is the best thing I can do right now? Ask it, answer it, act on it, and keep going. Cigarette. When we are born, we don't come into the world craving a cigarette, a person, a bottle, or even someone to constantly be around. A child doesn't wake up feeling lonely. They don't seek approval, stimulation, or a hand to hold at all times. In the beginning, we are whole. We are free. We are enough. But somewhere along the way, some of us develop a need, not for survival, but for emotional security in the form of constant companionship, a cigarette, a drink, a person, a routine, something that feels like a friend in silence, something that fills the empty moments we were once fine being alone with. This is how it begins, not as addiction, but as comfort. And comfort is seductive. At first, it seems harmless. You talk to someone daily. You light a cigarette during breaks. You chew something while thinking. These acts slowly wrap themselves around your routine, your emotions, your sense of peace. It doesn't even matter if it's good or bad. What matters is that it's there. And once it becomes a companion, letting it go feels like losing a part of yourself. But here's the twist. You never needed it in the first place. You only taught yourself that you did. What people call addiction is often just the result of forming an emotional bond with a habit that once brought a little comfort. It becomes a feel-good trap. It becomes something your brain labels as necessary, not because of a chemical, but because of the emotional role it started playing. Think about it. Most people don't crave nicotine or alcohol when life is full and joyful. They crave it when they're bored, sad, lonely, or stressed. That proves it's not the chemical they miss. It's the companionship effect, the illusion that something is there with you, that you're not going through life alone. This is the hidden truth. We aren't always addicted to substances or people. We are addicted to the feeling of not being alone. This is why even after quitting cigarettes, some people still need to chew something. After a breakup, some rush into another relationship, not out of love but to avoid silence. After giving up a bad habit, some cling to a new one with equal intensity. The brain simply refuses to sit alone. And that's the real battle. To sit without the noise, to stand without leaning, to walk without holding someone's hand, even an imaginary one. There's nothing wrong with companionship. We are social beings, after all. But there's a difference between enjoying someone's presence and needing someone's presence to feel okay. The first is beautiful. The second is bondage. Freedom begins when you see the trap for what it is. Not chains, but a blanket that got too comfortable to let go. The habit of companionship isn't just about relationships. It's about anything you cling to, just because it makes you feel better, even when you know you don't need it anymore. So ask yourself, are you choosing what's in your life? Or are you just holding on because it became your emotional crutch? The moment you can sit alone and still feel complete, the moment you can let go and still feel calm, that's when you're truly free. Because the most powerful companion you can ever have is your own inner peace. Control. When someone becomes famous, an artist, singer, actor, writer, their identity begins to shift in the public eye. Suddenly, they're not just a human being with talents and flaws. They become a symbol, an image, a public product. This new version of them receives a kind of love that's powerful, but often inflated. Comments like, "You're my god," "You're the best in the universe," and "You've changed my life" flood in. For someone who didn't get such praise earlier, this can feel like a drug, addictive, intoxicating, and flattering. But here's the thing. Fame is not love, it's attention. It may contain love within it, but it also contains projection, expectation, illusion, and sometimes obsession. And on the flip side of all that love and admiration lies its shadow: hate, criticism, jealousy, and trolling. Just like the yin-yang symbol, the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. As the saying goes, the taller the tree, the stronger the wind. Now, here's the trap. When artists only seek or respond to the good side, applause, compliments, praise, they make themselves vulnerable to being shattered by the bad side. Why? Because their self-worth begins to rely on external feedback. The moment a hateful comment appears, it hits them like a dagger. Some can't help but fight back, dig into the troll's profile, post stories calling them out, or even file complaints. And yes, if there are threats or serious abuse, they have the right to protect themselves legally. But for every regular hate comment, trying to shut every mouth is madness. You'll never win that game. Look at the biggest stars: Shah Rukh Khan, Taylor Swift, Messi, Elon Musk. They're loved and hated in equal measures. But they keep moving. They know that wasting energy reacting to every hater will only slow them down. Instead, they focus on their craft, their growth, and their inner circle of truth. And here's your best point: know yourself. If you know who you truly are, no outside opinion, whether you're a god or you're trash, will shake you. You'll stay grounded. You won't fly too high from the compliments, nor will you sink from the insults. Because you know, I am neither what they glorify nor what they criticize. I am simply who I am. Taking only praise seriously makes you arrogant and stagnant. Taking only hate seriously makes you depressed and broken. The truth is in the middle. Feedback is okay, but you must filter it wisely. Growth comes from constructive feedback, not random noise. The rest is just background chatter. Let it fade. So if you're an artist or any public figure, understand this. You're now under the spotlight, and the spotlight shows everything, good and bad. Don't beg for love and don't fear hate. Just keep walking. Let your work speak. Let your peace be internal. Fame is a storm, and storms are not meant to be controlled. They're meant to be danced through, with calm, with clarity, and with grace. Creativity is like a battery. You have limited mental, emotional, and spiritual energy in a day. Now, imagine this. Instead of using that to write a song, paint a masterpiece, or build something powerful, you're spending hours replying to some random dude online who said, "You suck," or "You're overrated." Think about it. That person gave you 3 seconds of thought. You're giving them 3 hours. Who's actually winning? That artist may feel like they're defending their honor, but in reality, they're just burning up their creative fuel on a fight that leads nowhere. It's like trying to mop the ocean. You'll never finish. There's an old saying, holding on to anger is like carrying a hot coal with the intention of throwing it at someone. You're the one getting burned. When an artist reposts hate comments and blasts the hater online, they might think, "Ha! I got them back." But what really happens? They're now emotionally disturbed. They've filled their social media with negativity. They've invited more drama and toxic replies. They're training their mind to stay in a defensive, bitter space. Every time an artist reacts like that, they're sending a message to the trolls. Hey, you have the power to control my emotions. That's dangerous. Because guess what trolls want? A reaction. If you give them that, they win. If you stay silent and keep shining in your art, they shrivel. Nothing pisses off a hater more than being ignored and seeing you succeed anyway. Fans follow artists for inspiration, energy, music, or beauty, not to see an endless war zone of clapbacks and angry stories. When an artist turns their page into a battlefield against every hater, fans slowly drift away. It's no longer a vibe they enjoy. You're not inspiring anymore. You're stuck in low vibration noise. You can't win this game. Even if you shut down 5 haters today, 10 more will pop up tomorrow. It's a never-ending treadmill. Waiting. It sounds like such a passive, easy thing to do. But anyone who's ever truly waited for something that mattered knows the truth. It's one of the hardest, most mentally exhausting battles a person can face. Because waiting isn't just about time. It's about the fight that happens inside you while time keeps passing. When you're waiting for something, clarity, a message, healing, results, a decision, your mind doesn't stay quiet. It explodes with questions. Am I doing the right thing? Or am I just stuck? Is this patience or a lack of a plan? What if I'm slowly turning into a failure while convincing myself I'm being wise? It becomes a loop. The same doubts over and over again, eating away at your peace. You feel trapped, not by the world, but by your own thoughts. And the worst part? There's no clear answer. No one tells you if you're doing the right thing by waiting. There's no guarantee. You're walking through fog, hoping there's something good on the other side. But you have no idea how far it is or if it even exists. That kind of uncertainty breeds frustration. Some days, you feel motivated. You tell yourself, good things take time. You hold your head high and breathe through the silence. But other days, it all collapses. You feel desperate for a way out. Angry that things aren't moving. Sad that you can't do anything. And scared that all this patience might end up being meaningless. That you'll look back and realize you waited and hurt and hoped for nothing. It's not just the lack of progress that hurts. It's the emotional toll. The constant push and pull inside you. The voice that says, wait, fighting against the one that screams, act now or lose everything. People say patience is a virtue, but they never talk about the psychological demons that come with it. The overwhelming frustration, the suppressed anger, the rising panic, and that heavy sadness that makes everything feel pointless. The world makes action look strong and powerful. But what about the strength it takes to sit in silence when every cell in your body is begging you to move? What about the kind of power it takes to resist the urge to do something, anything, just to feel a false sense of control? That's not weakness. That's next level emotional control. And here's the truth. Not everyone can wait. Not everyone has the mental strength to sit with uncertainty and pain without reacting. Most people give in to distractions, to impulsive decisions, to short-term relief. They chase temporary answers because sitting with the unknown is unbearable. That's why people say waiting is hard, but they don't realize it's a full-blown war. The few who succeed in waiting, in holding back, in being still, in trusting the process even when it makes no sense, they are warriors. They don't always look strong from the outside, but inside, they've survived something fierce. They've battled their own fears, their own cravings for instant results, and their own darkness. That's no small thing. So if you're in that space right now, where waiting feels like drowning, where silence feels louder than any noise, know this. You're not weak. You're not wasting time. You're fighting the kind of battle most people never talk about. And if you can survive this, you've already proven you're stronger than most. Because sometimes, doing nothing is the hardest thing you'll ever do. Happiness. Happiness starts with you and ends with you. It has nothing to do with how people treat you, what job you have, how many followers you gain, or whether others think you're great. Those things are nice, but they are not the source. They are extras, not essentials. If you wake up and feel calm, content, and not constantly needing to prove yourself, that's happiness. If you can be with yourself in silence and not feel uncomfortable, that's freedom. If you can see someone else succeed and not feel threatened, that's growth. The world tries to sell us a version of happiness that's loud, shiny, and competitive. But the real kind? It's quiet. It's soft. It's enoughness. And it's found in the small, present moments when you accept yourself as you are. So no, I don't want to live a life constantly chasing to be better than others. I want to be better than who I was yesterday, not better than you. I want to be free, not admired. I want to be at peace, not envied. Because at the end of the day, when the lights are off, the phones are silent, and it's just me and my thoughts, only one question matters. Am I truly at peace with myself? That's happiness. And it's already inside me. I just had to stop chasing and start listening. Nature takes its time. The sun doesn't rush to rise. Trees don't panic to grow. Seasons change slowly, but they always happen. No stress, no rushing, yet everything gets done. No forcing needed. A river doesn't struggle to reach the ocean, it simply follows its path. Birds don't stress about migration, they just fly when the time is right. Nature gets things done through ease, not struggle. When we stop pushing so hard, things often fall into place naturally. Trust the process. A caterpillar doesn't worry about becoming a butterfly. It just grows. Fruit ripens when it's ready, not because we demand it. Nature shows us that things happen best when we let them unfold naturally. Less stress, better results. Storms pass, tides turn, and day becomes night, all without force or frustration. Nature reminds us that pushing too hard often creates chaos, while patience brings peace and progress. You're part of this too. Just like the moon pulls the waves and seeds become flowers, you don't have to hustle 24/7 to grow. Rest, move at your own pace, and trust that you'll bloom exactly when you're meant to. Bottom line, life isn't a race. Slow down, work with your natural rhythm, and watch how much gets done without the burnout. Nature doesn't rush, yet everything gets done. Think about how nature works. The sun rises every morning without fail, but it doesn't stress about being on time. Trees grow slowly, taking years to reach their full height, yet they never complain about how long it takes. Flowers bloom when they're ready, not because they're in a hurry. Everything in nature moves at its own pace, yet nothing is left unfinished. There's no rushing, no forcing, just steady, natural progress. Now compare that to how we live. We're always in a race, trying to do more, achieve more, and do it all faster. We push ourselves to the limit, thinking that if we don't hurry, we'll fall behind. But nature shows us a better way. It doesn't panic or strain, yet everything still happens exactly as it should. The ocean waves don't crash ashore because they're stressed. They just follow their natural rhythm. What if we lived more like that? What if, instead of forcing things, we trusted the process and let life unfold at its own pace? It doesn't mean being lazy or passive. It means working with patience and faith, knowing that things will happen when the time is right. Nature doesn't hurry, and neither do we have to. The most beautiful things, forests, mountains, rivers, were all created slowly, without rush. Maybe our lives can be the same way. We are told we spend our lives negotiating with the world, making compromises, adapting to survive, and sometimes bending under pressure. Yet there is one line that once crossed leaves a permanent mark on the soul: the betrayal of your own truth. Denying your passion, silencing your conscience, or pretending to be someone you're not may seem small at the moment, but every act of self-betrayal slowly erodes your happiness, peace, and sense of identity. From an early age, society rewards conformity. We are taught to follow rules, choose stable careers, and fit into roles that guarantee security, even if those roles suffocate our true nature. We convince ourselves with phrases like, "I'll be happy once I make enough money." We spend our lives trying to fit in, adapting, compromising, and sometimes giving up just to survive. But there's one thing you should never betray: your own truth. Ignoring what you love, pretending to be someone else, or silencing your voice might feel small now, but each time you do it, a little piece of your happiness and peace disappears. From childhood, we're told to follow rules, pick safe jobs, and act a certain way. You'll be happy once you earn enough, they say. Or this is just how life works. But living like that, suppressing your true self, creates a crack inside. Your mind can explain it away, but your soul never forgets. If you're creative but stuck in a boring 9 to 5, it's not just boredom, it's feeling invisible. If you act against your values, lying or cheating, you might get approval or money, but deep inside, you feel heavy. The thrill fades, guilt remains. You know it's not who you are. The magic happens when you stop pretending. When you embrace your real self, confusion turns into clarity, anxiety becomes peace, and shallow happiness turns into deep joy. Fix your mistakes. Honor your values. Stand up for your truth. That's where freedom lives. Don't justify dishonesty with, "Everyone does it." Their choices aren't yours. Your heart knows the difference between right and wrong. That inner discomfort, it's your conscience telling you who you really are. Being true takes effort. Know your non-negotiables: honesty, creativity, kindness. Call out your excuses. Surround yourself with people who inspire integrity. Forgive yourself for past mistakes, and always choose courage over comfort. The reward? A life of real success. Artists wake up excited to create. Honest people sleep peacefully. Living by your values gives you something no one can take: self-respect. At the end of the day, the only approval that matters is yours. You can't fake passion, buy peace, or lie your way to happiness. But when you choose authenticity, integrity, and truth, you unlock the greatest joy: the freedom to be unapologetically, unshakably yourself. And that is priceless. Pride. When you know who you are and the respect you deserve, your value and your worth, it's not about arrogance, it's about awareness. It's about self-work and growth. And once you reach that level of self-respect, you stop entertaining people, places, or situations that require you to lower your standards. A lion doesn't bow down to wolves just to fit in, or out of fear of loneliness, or to justify circumstances. There are times when it's not about being flexible or adapting. Sometimes you just need to walk away, cut it off, or stay silent, because it doesn't align with the level of dignity you've built within yourself. Self-worth means you stop apologizing for having standards. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop explaining why you're not okay with disrespect. Because once you've truly found yourself, you never allow anything that asks you to lose yourself again. There comes a point in life when you stop asking for validation and start standing in your truth. You realize who you are. You know the value you bring, the energy you carry, and the respect you deserve. Not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. It comes from growth, from battles fought silently, from scars that became lessons, and from a commitment to working on yourself day in and day out. When that awareness sinks in, you no longer tolerate situations that make you shrink. You stop showing up in rooms that force you to hide parts of yourself just to be accepted. You no longer water yourself down to keep someone else comfortable. Why? Because you've built something sacred inside: self-respect. And that's not something you gamble for temporary validation or cheap comfort. You learn that being flexible doesn't mean being walked over. Adapting doesn't mean becoming something you're not. And compromising doesn't mean erasing your dignity. There's a clear line between being understanding and being used, between being kind and being taken for granted. And once you've tasted the peace that comes from knowing your worth, you stop crossing that line for anyone. A lion doesn't bow to wolves just to fit in. It doesn't trade its roar for silence just because the world's too loud. Similarly, once you recognize who you've become through all your struggles and growth, you don't shrink yourself to match the energy of people who never bothered to grow. You don't explain your standards to those who benefit from crossing them. You don't engage in conversations where you have to constantly prove your worth or remind someone to treat you right. There will always be situations that try to test your boundaries. People who will come in sweet and leave sour. Circumstances that'll try to shake you, push you to settle, or convince you that you're being too much for expecting the bare minimum. But that's when your awareness speaks louder than any fear or pressure. You walk away. You disconnect. You cut it off. Not because you're cold-hearted, but because you've worked too hard to become someone who finally respects himself. And make no mistake, this isn't about ego. This is about clarity. Clarity about the kind of life you want, the kind of energy you allow, and the kind of love, friendship, or connection that deserves a seat at your table. If something costs your peace, it's too expensive. If someone can't honor your presence, let them feel your absence. The truth is, not everything is worth adapting to. Not every environment is worth your energy. Not every person deserves access to the version of you that took years to build. Sometimes the strongest move isn't to fight or prove. It's to simply walk away with your head high and your spirit intact. So, stay grounded in your worth. Stay aligned with your standards. Keep evolving, but never at the cost of your self-respect. Protect the person you've become. You didn't come this far to lower your voice, your values, or your vision just to be accepted in spaces you've outgrown. Let people call it pride. Let them say you've changed. That's okay. Growth will always look like distance to those who refuse to grow with you. Just remember, knowing your worth isn't about thinking you're better than anyone. It's about knowing you're no longer available for anything that makes you feel less than who you truly are. Love. People talk about love like it's the end goal of life, as if the moment you find a partner, everything else falls into place. But what I've seen, what many of us have lived, is the opposite. Too many people aren't in love. They're trapped. Not because relationships are toxic by nature, but because they enter them incomplete, ungrounded, and dependent. Let's be honest. If a single bad text, an unanswered call, or a shift in your partner's mood can destroy your peace, that's not love. That's emotional dependence. If their actions control your mental state, you've handed them the keys to your happiness. You've given someone else power over your emotional weather. That's not romantic. That's dangerous. This is why you need to build your own kingdom. And I'm not just talking about some metaphorical inner peace. I mean, a full kingdom, inside and out. Be so emotionally, mentally, financially, and materially solid that whether someone stays or leaves, your life remains intact. Your happiness remains yours. Your peace remains untouched. Your world doesn't collapse because you are your own foundation. Build a life so rich in purpose, progress, and fulfillment that love becomes a blessing, not your only lifeline. The truth is, your partner should never be your entire kingdom. They should be someone who's welcome to walk through it with you, side by side, not someone you build everything around. If they leave, let them. Love should never be held by fear. Love that stays by force isn't love. It's obligation. Too many people treat relationships like a lifeboat, hoping it will save them from the emptiness they feel alone. But if you don't love your own company, if you're not proud of the life you're building, what exactly are you inviting someone into? So build. Build emotionally. Build financially. Build spiritually. Build physically. Create a life that reflects your values, your dreams, your work ethic. Become so complete in yourself that no one can shake your sense of worth. Be generous with love, but never desperate. Be open, but never dependent. Because real love, mature love, only happens between two whole people who choose each other, not because they need to fill a void, but because they want to share what they've built. That's when love feels free. That's when it feels safe. That's when it lasts. So don't just wait for love. Build a kingdom, and then let love find its place in it. Delete their voices from your mind and your life like they never existed. More often than not, people are driven to succeed because someone once told them, you can't. Maybe it was a teacher who doubted their potential, a parent who pushed their own dreams onto them, or a friend who laughed at their ambitions. The world is full of doubters, voices telling you you're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. And in moments of pain or frustration, it might seem like a good idea to prove them wrong. To rise up just to say, look at me now. But here's the hard truth. That's the wrong energy. Doing something purely to prove others wrong might work temporarily. It might even get you results. But that kind of motivation is built on negativity, not passion. It keeps you tied to the very people you're trying to escape. You end up living your life according to their doubts instead of your dreams. And worst of all, it never truly satisfies you. Because the moment you achieve something out of vengeance or validation, you realize there's no peace at the finish line. Just a hollow kind of, I told you so. Then you're left wondering, what now? You don't need to carry that burden. You don't need to hustle just to silence someone else's opinion. Instead, chase your dreams because they matter to you. Work hard because it aligns with your purpose, because it lights something inside you, because it helps you grow into the person you're meant to be. That's where real strength comes from. Not from the fire of anger, but from the calm certainty that you're doing what you were made to do. People will judge you. People will underestimate you. Let them. Don't absorb their energy. Don't carry their words in your head like scars. Delete them like a file you no longer need. And if their memory lingers, let it fade, not because you forgot, but because you've outgrown it. Because here's the truth. You never have to prove anything to anyone. Not your worth, not your dreams, not your decisions. The only person you need to prove anything to is yourself. And even then, do it out of love, not pressure. So next time someone says, you won't make it, don't waste time trying to prove them wrong. Just smile, walk past them, and keep building your dream in silence. Let your success be the quiet result of peace, not the loud answer to noise. Because the most powerful energy doesn't come from anger. It comes from clarity, from truth, from knowing exactly why you're doing what you're doing and never needing to explain it to anyone. Do it for you, always for you, for yourself. It's easy to fall into the trap of proving others wrong, especially when people doubt you. When they say you can't, you won't, you're not enough. Their words stick. They echo in your mind when you're alone with your thoughts. And for a while, it might even motivate you. You want to prove them wrong, show them you're capable, that you're more than what they believed. But here's the truth most people don't realize. Chasing your dreams just to prove others wrong is still letting them control your path. You're still giving them space in your mind, letting their judgment shape your direction. Even if it looks like you're breaking free, you're still tied to their narrative. Eventually, you come to a deeper understanding. You realize your journey has nothing to do with them. Their doubts, their limits, they don't belong to you. They were never about you. People project their fears, their insecurities, their experiences, but none of that defines you. The turning point comes when you stop trying to prove anyone wrong and start focusing on simply being true to yourself. You start chasing your dreams not because someone said you couldn't, but because you know deep down that you can, that it's what you're here to do. And that's when everything changes. That shift is powerful. It's not loud or flashy, it's quiet, steady, grounded. It's a kind of strength that doesn't need to shout. You move forward not with bitterness, but with clarity. You're no longer fueled by anger or revenge, but by purpose and love for what you do. It's not about showing them. It's about showing up for yourself. You begin to trust your intuition. You set your own standards. You realize that the only person who needs to believe in your dream is you. That doesn't mean the journey gets easier, but it gets more meaningful. You stop running on external fuel and start drawing from something internal, something lasting. This kind of mindset can't be faked. It takes time. Sometimes you have to carry the weight of other people's doubt just to realize you don't have to carry it at all. You can set it down, walk lighter, breathe deeper. So no, you don't chase your dreams to prove anyone wrong. You chase them because they matter to you, because they light you up, because they feel right. And when your energy shifts like that, when your motivation comes from within, you become unstoppable. Not because you want to defeat anyone, but because you're finally aligned with who you really are. That's the strongest approach. That's real power. And it's yours. Attachment. Every now and then, people chase a dream with everything they've got. They hustle, they sacrifice, they grind for years, just to build a life they've always imagined. A house that feels like a palace, a bank balance that speaks of freedom, a lifestyle soaked in luxury. And when they finally get there, when the dream becomes reality, you'd expect them to feel nothing but peace. But here's the twist. More often than not, that dream slowly becomes a prison. Why? Because of attachment. At first, it was just a goal, something they had to do, something that felt necessary. But over time, they start identifying with it. The house becomes their identity. The money becomes their worth. The lifestyle becomes their existence. And suddenly, the idea of losing any of it feels like losing everything. This is where fear creeps in. The fear of loss. The fear of death. The fear of anything that could take it all away. That deep, unsettling anxiety begins to grow. What if I lose what I've built? Or worse, what if I die and leave it all behind? That, my friend, is a very sad and painful scenario. Imagine living your dream life but being unable to enjoy it because you're too afraid of losing it. You see the irony? You wanted to be free, but now you're trapped by the very things you once wished for. That's why we must remind ourselves, not once, but again and again, never get too attached. Not to your money, not to your possessions, not even to your own life. Build what you must. Do what's necessary. Achieve your goals. Be successful. But do it with a light heart. Don't cling. Appreciate everything as a blessing, but never turn it into your entire identity. Because the truth is, everything you own is temporary. Your car, your house, your fame, even your body, they're all borrowed. And the tighter you grip, the more you suffer when the time comes to let go. True strength lies in being able to say, yes, I love this life. I've worked hard for it, but I'm ready to let go whenever life says it's time. That's not being weak. That's being fearless. So live, love, build, create, but do it like a traveler. Enjoy the scenery, but don't try to take the road with you when you leave. Because one day, you will leave, and the only thing you'll take with you is the peace you made while you were here. A fire? There's a fire that burns in the chest of anyone who's ever been doubted, dismissed, or looked down upon. It's a quiet rage at first, simmering beneath the surface. People mock you, they laugh at your dreams. They label you as nothing more than a failure, a nobody, just another face in the crowd. But deep inside, you know the truth. You are more than what they see. You are a force waiting to be unleashed, a storm ready to break through the silence. They say actions speak louder than words, and in this case, actions will roar louder than any thunder. Because you don't need to prove yourself to everyone. You only need to prove yourself to the person staring back in the mirror. Every doubter, every skeptic, every harsh word, it's fuel. The noise around you, it's just background static. What matters is the journey you commit to, day after day, step after step. You don't just wish for a miracle, you build it with your own hands. Through sweat, struggle, failure, and learning, you lay down the bricks of your future. It's a constant journey of self-improvement where you refuse to be stagnant. Growth becomes your language, and persistence your voice. Every setback isn't a stop sign, but a challenge to push harder. There will be moments when you feel invisible, unheard, or misunderstood. But here's the truth. The loudest applause often comes after the longest silence. When success finally arrives, it won't ask permission. It won't sneak in quietly. It will explode like a thunderclap, impossible to ignore. The very people who doubted you will have no choice but to witness your rise. They'll try to shut their ears and close their eyes, but your achievements will be undeniable. What's beautiful about this kind of success is that it's not born from luck or fleeting chance. It's born from resilience and relentless belief. You understand that those who told you you can't were really speaking their own fears and limitations. Their doubts reflected their own inability to act, to dream, or to persevere. But you are not them. You are a different story, a story of defiance, courage, and relentless hustle. And as you grow stronger, you realize that hatred and doubt can't touch you anymore. When you've moved beyond needing validation, when you've poured your heart into your work and witnessed your own growth, the opinions of others lose their power. You become untouchable, not because you're perfect, but because you're unstoppable. One day, the world will have to listen. The applause will drown out the whispers of doubt. Your success will be a beacon for others who were once overlooked and underestimated. And through your journey, you'll remind everyone that the impossible is only impossible until someone decides to make it possible. So keep moving forward. Keep grinding. Keep believing. Your story is just beginning, and it's already rewriting the rules. Hey there. Every now and then, don't forget to say thank you to God for all the blessings He's quietly dropped into your life. You know, life isn't always about chasing the next big thing, the next upgrade, the next level. We humans, fairly enough, are wired to want more. More comfort, more success, more recognition, more maze, as you said. But in that endless maze of desires, we often lose sight of what we already have. To be honest, we get so caught up in what's missing that we stop seeing what's present. Our high expectations and sky-touching ambitions blur the beauty of what we once prayed for. That soft pillow you sleep on, the laughter of your family, a friend who checks in without a reason, the meal on your plate, or even just the fact that you woke up today. These aren't small things. These are blessings in disguise. And if you're not careful, they'll become invisible in the noise of your not enough mindset. More often than not, people realize the value of something only after it's gone. Then, and only then, regret kicks in, and it hits deep. That's why it's important, genuinely important, to slow down every so often and just say thank you. Thank you, God, for the people who care, for the roof over my head, for the strength to get through bad days, and for the good days too. Gratitude, my friend, is like a flashlight in that maze. It helps you find your way back to peace. You see, appreciating blessings doesn't mean you give up on ambitions or goals. Not at all. It just means you don't ignore what's already beautiful while reaching for what's next. The people you think are just there every day might actually be your lifelines. The job you call boring might be paying your bills. The health you take for granted, one hospital visit can flip that view entirely. So don't be the one who sees the value of things only after losing them. Don't let your blessings fade into the background while you chase dreams. Instead, let your dreams grow from a place of gratitude. That way, even if you don't get everything you want, you'll still feel rich. With that being said, close your eyes for a second, breathe, and thank God. Not just for what you have, but also for what you don't. Sometimes unanswered prayers are blessings too. In the end, life's not always about what's next. Sometimes it's about what's now. Stay grounded. Stay grateful. I wake up. I wake up each day reminding myself that I'm not above anyone, but I'm not below anyone either. I don't waste time trying to feel superior to the person next to me, whether it's at work, online, or standing in line for coffee. At the same time, I don't shrink myself to make others feel comfortable. My self-respect is up for negotiation. I treat people with kindness, but if someone tries to disrespect me, I simply walk away. No drama, no arguments, just quiet boundaries. I live by a simple rule. I don't compare my life with anyone else's. When I scroll through social media and see people celebrating their wins, fancy jobs, perfect relationships, or wild adventures, I just think, good for them. Their highlight reel isn't my measuring tape. My growth has nothing to do with beating someone else. It's about waking up and asking myself, what can I fix today? Sometimes it's my temper. Sometimes it's finally tackling that project I've been avoiding. Small steps, no pressure. Working on myself doesn't need to be complicated. Every day I try to learn at least one thing, whether it's a new quote, a small skill, or a mistake I'll avoid repeating. I don't aim to be perfect, I just aim to be better than yesterday. And if I mess up, I laugh it off, call myself out, and move forward. No guilt trips, no beating myself up. The goal is progress, not perfection. Gratitude is my secret weapon. I start my day by being thankful for the basics: a roof over my head, food on the table, and people who care about me. But gratitude doesn't mean I settle. I stay ambitious, not out of greed or competition, but because I want to see how far I can go. And whenever someone helps me, I make sure to say thank you with honesty and no ego. When it comes to ego, I keep it in check. If someone insults me, I don't feel the need to clap back or prove myself. My confidence doesn't come from winning arguments. It comes from knowing who I am. I have flaws, of course. I can be impatient, I overthink, but I don't hate myself for it. I just keep working on it. And when I succeed, I don't brag about it. Real confidence is quiet. There are a few non-negotiables I live by. I don't believe in hierarchies. I won't kiss up to people above me, and I won't look down on those below. I don't let jealousy take root. If someone is living my dream life, that's great for them, but it doesn't cancel out my own path. I also avoid fake humility. If I'm good at something, I own it without needing to shove it in anyone's face. And most importantly, I refuse to be a people pleaser. I'll help others when I can, but I won't burn myself out just to keep someone else warm. At the end of the day, I only ask myself two questions. Did I stay true to my values? Did I grow a little today? If the answer is yes, then I'm winning. If not, tomorrow gives me another chance. Life is too short to chase approval or play games. I'd rather just be solid, be real, and be the kind of person who can look in the mirror and say, "You're all right," and actually mean it. Fight. Hello there. I just want to share some thoughts I've been carrying lately about arguments, debates, and the way we let the world pull at us. Maybe it's something you'll feel too. Maybe something you'll recognize. You see, I usually don't fight to win. Not because I can't, but because I've realized that winning a fight doesn't always mean gaining anything. Why fight if the cost is my peace? I don't trade my calm for someone else's need to be right. I don't step into debates just to prove I'm smarter, stronger, or better. If someone tries to drag me into a pointless argument, especially when they aren't listening, I say no. I step away. I walk. That's not weakness. It's wisdom. It's understanding that some battles are traps, designed not to enlighten, but to consume energy, to spark drama, to feed ego. And I'm not here to feed anyone else's hunger. I've learned that when people refuse to see the truth, it's not my job to convince them. Some argue only to feel powerful, to cast shadows, to make themselves feel bigger. I speak my truth once, clearly, calmly, and if it doesn't land, I let it be. Arguing with closed hearts is like trying to pour light into a locked room. It only tires me, never them. My focus is simple: peace, growth, and clarity. Winning an argument rarely heals anything. It usually leaves wounds, tension, and regret. I choose silence over noise, calm over chaos. That doesn't make me small, it makes me sovereign. My energy is sacred, reserved for what truly matters: learning, becoming better, and keeping my spirit unshaken. If someone tries to belittle me, question my worth, or provoke me, I don't engage. Words hold power only if I give it to them. I remind myself, I know who I am. I am enough. I am steady. Confidence comes from within, not from validation or judgment. Letting go of the need to win has given me clarity, freedom, and strength. In the end, I want to be known as someone grounded, kind, and strong, not someone obsessed with triumph in every battle. Not every fight is meant for me. Some storms are meant to pass. I focus on what truly matters: growth, learning, and protecting my peace. The rest? I release. I let it fall into the wind. I am calm, I am strong, I am unshakable, and in that I am free. I truly believe that my mind can be my greatest strength, but only when I guide it with hope, positivity, purpose, and a clear plan. When I focus on growth and align myself with goals that matter to me, my mind becomes a powerful ally. It helps me stay determined, creative, and resilient. But I also know the other side: how easily it can turn into my worst enemy when I allow it to be consumed by negativity. Overthinking, fear, comparison, jealousy, those emotions don't build anything. They only drain. That's why I handle my thoughts with care. I stay aware of what I feed my mind, because I know its power. I choose to be my own supporter, not a critic. I choose to be my mind's best friend, not its enemy. One of the most freeing decisions I've made is to stop caring about what others think of me. I don't spend my time wondering if people see me as strong, smart, capable, or good enough. That noise doesn't shape who I am. People's opinions are just that, opinions. They don't define my character, my journey, or my potential. I've learned that external validation is fragile and temporary. What truly matters is how I see myself and how committed I am to evolving. I'm focused on becoming the best version of myself. That journey is deeply personal. I don't need to match someone else's pace or live according to their timeline. Everyone's path is different, and I respect that. Mine just happens to be uniquely mine. I'm not in a race. I'm here to grow, learn, and move forward with purpose, not pressure. Every day, I choose to align myself with peace, progress, and authenticity. I let go of what doesn't serve me. I embrace patience when things take time and self-compassion when things get hard. This is my mindset, my approach to life. My energy is too valuable to be wasted on doubts or distractions. I know who I am, I know where I'm going, and I'm proud of how far I've come, even if I'm still becoming. Arguments. I'm not here to win arguments. I'm here to live with peace, purpose, and self-awareness. When someone tries to pull me into an argument just to prove their point, or refuses to accept the truth, I choose to walk away. I don't find pride in winning arguments where the only goal is ego, not understanding. I've learned that proving someone wrong doesn't add real value to my life. I used to argue endlessly, often forgetting where I even started or how far the conversation had drifted. It became less about the truth and more about winning. I look back and realize how futile and exhausting that was. That kind of arguing is pointless. It doesn't solve anything. It drains energy, time, and peace. Now, I don't engage in debates where the other person's only goal is to satisfy their ego, not to listen or understand. I've outgrown the need to prove my intelligence, strength, or worth through back and forth arguments. I don't feel the need to be right just to feel good about myself. I don't feel the need to prove myself to people who are only interested in speaking, not in understanding. If someone's only purpose is to dominate the conversation and feel superior, then I'm simply not interested. I choose to let my actions speak for me. My focus is on living with intention and alignment, not on constantly proving a point. Winning arguments doesn't lead to real growth, real peace, or real achievement. It only gives a temporary ego boost, and that's not something I'm chasing anymore. Peace matters more to me than pride. Self-respect means more than being right. I value real conversations, the kind where people listen, reflect, and grow. Anything less than that is just noise I don't need. I know who I am, and I don't need to prove that to anyone. My energy is too valuable to waste on arguments that go nowhere. I'm not here to compete. I'm here to evolve. Less or more. My philosophy is simple but powerful. I don't consider anyone lesser than me, and I don't consider myself lesser than anyone else. This belief isn't about ego or trying to be better than others. It's about balance. I choose to walk a path where I'm confident without arrogance, grounded without insecurity. I respect others deeply, but I also hold my own self-respect, dignity, and worth as sacred. I've never been interested in comparing myself to others. Everyone's journey is different. We all have our strengths, our struggles, our timing. I don't see life as a competition. Just because someone is ahead in one area doesn't mean I'm behind. I've learned to focus on my own path, my own growth. That's where my energy goes, into becoming a better version of myself every single day. I'm not the type to feel superior to anyone. That mindset doesn't interest me. But at the same time, I'm also not someone who will let others make me feel small, insecure, or lesser. I refuse to give space to self-doubt or allow anyone to challenge my sense of worth. I know what I bring to the table, and I don't feel the need to prove it to anyone. That's where real confidence comes in. Not the loud, showy kind, but the quiet, grounded kind. The kind that doesn't need to talk about itself. The kind that lets actions, energy, and growth speak louder than words. Confidence, to me, is knowing who you are and being at peace with it. It's not about being better than others, it's about being solid within yourself. At the same time, I carry humility and gratitude with me. I'm always open to learning, improving, and evolving. Every experience, every person I meet, every challenge I face is a chance to grow. I never think I know it all, and I don't act like I have everything figured out. I'm a work in progress, and I like it that way. Growth is one of my biggest priorities in life, and I'm committed to it, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Still, while I stay open and humble, there are certain things I protect fiercely: my self-respect, my dignity, and my inner peace. These are non-negotiable for me. I know my value, and I won't let anyone or anything shake that. I don't chase validation, and I don't need approval to feel whole. I've built my self-worth from the inside out, and it's not up for debate. This mindset gives me clarity and strength in relationships, work, and life in general. I don't seek to impress, I seek to express. I don't compete, I create. I don't compare, I focus. That doesn't mean I'm perfect or that I don't have bad days. I do. But even in the low moments, I don't forget who I am. I've done the inner work to build a foundation that can't be shaken by temporary setbacks or outside opinions. In a world that often pressures people to either shrink or boast, I choose to just be. To stand firm in who I am, to grow with purpose, and to treat others with the same respect I expect for myself. That's my philosophy. And I live it. Not for anyone else's approval, but because it keeps me aligned with who I truly am. Prepare for the miracle. Too often, we hear the phrase, wait for a miracle, as if life-changing breakthroughs arrive uninvited, falling into the laps of those who simply hope hard enough. But here's the truth. Miracles aren't just events that come out of nowhere. They are often the result of quiet preparation, inner work, and relentless faith in action. A miracle is not magic. It is the moment where preparation meets divine timing. When you prepare for a miracle, you're doing more than hoping. You're aligning yourself with the possibility of something extraordinary. You're creating space in your life for something beautiful to enter. You're not passive. You're active, intentional, and worthy of what's coming. Preparation is a declaration. I believe something good is on the way, and I will be ready for it. It means building habits, healing wounds, learning skills, clearing emotional clutter, whatever it takes to become the version of yourself who can hold the blessing when it arrives. Think about it. If a door opens, but you're not ready to walk through it, you'll hesitate or miss it entirely. But if you've been preparing, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, then when opportunity comes, you're not overwhelmed. You're equipped. You're confident. You're already in motion. Miracles don't show up to rescue you from doing your part. They meet you where your effort and faith intersect. Your job isn't to control the timing or the outcome. Your job is to stay ready, stay open, and keep building the foundation that can carry something greater. Waiting without preparation is like planting seeds and never watering them. But preparing, even when there's no visible sign of change, is an act of trust. It says, I know something is coming, and I'll be ready to receive it. So don't just wait, prepare. Train your heart, focus your mind, shape your life. Because when the miracle arrives, and it will, you won't be surprised. You'll be ready. Frog. Here's a story that gets told often. A frog placed in boiling water will immediately jump out, sensing danger. But place it in lukewarm water and slowly raise the temperature, and the frog will stay, unaware of the gradual danger, until it boils to death. To many, this is just another metaphor you hear in passing, usually paired with some casual life advice. But beneath the surface of this overused fable lies one of the most powerful, haunting truths about human nature: comfort and self-destruction. It's a mirror to how lives are lost, not in an instant, but in slow, quiet decay. The dangerous comfort of gradual decline. Life rarely throws us into boiling water. Most of us don't face overnight catastrophe. We deal with slow stress, creeping unhappiness, or subtle toxic situations. A job that slowly drains your spirit. A relationship that gradually becomes emotionally distant. a lifestyle that quietly eats away at your health or your dreams. Because these changes are slow, we don't react. We rationalize. We tell ourselves, it's not that bad, or this is just how life is. By the time the water is truly boiling, by the time the damage is undeniable, we've often stayed far too long, and leaving becomes harder. We're invested. We're used to it. Our energy is drained. Fear holds us where we are. This is the lesson the boiling frog offers. Not about frogs, but about how we adapt to pain until it becomes our normal. Why we stay in the water? There's a strange strength in human adaptability. We can adjust to nearly anything, and that's part of what makes us survive. But that strength is also our blind spot. We stay in bad situations because we've grown used to them. We stay in mediocre routines because they don't seem harmful at first. We tolerate disrespect, overwork, anxiety, or aimlessness because it doesn't all arrive at once. It arrives in small, manageable doses. Psychologically, this is called creeping normality. A condition so slowly worsens that we don't recognize it's gotten bad, like gaining weight slowly over years, or slowly losing the passion in a dream we once cherished. The frog doesn't jump because it doesn't know it needs to. That's the terrifying part, the cost of not jumping. Every person has a boiling point they ignore, a moment they know deep down something isn't right, and yet they stay. Maybe out of fear, maybe out of hope that things will change. Maybe because they've been told that jumping is failure. But the longer we stay in the wrong water, the more energy it takes to climb out. The more our identity gets tied to the environment that's hurting us. The more we normalize discomfort until we can no longer tell the difference between surviving and truly living. And by then, the cost isn't just time. It's your spirit, your creativity, your self-worth, your belief in your own potential. Waking up before it's too late. The wisdom in the boiling frog story isn't just about recognizing slow danger, it's about building the courage to act before you reach your limit, to jump before the water hits boiling. That means listening closely to your inner discomfort, even when it's small, not brushing it off, not numbing it with distractions. It means being radically honest about the environments you're in, relationships, jobs, habits, thought patterns. Are they nourishing you or slowly depleting you? Would the you from 5 years ago be proud of where you are now? Or would they be quietly screaming, "Get out"? It also means building a life where change is welcomed, not feared. Where leaving something harmful is seen as strength, not weakness. Where growth isn't just about endurance, but about choosing better water, clearer, freer, wilder. Practical power in a parable. This parable should not make us paranoid, but aware. Life will always have some discomfort. The goal isn't to avoid all heat. It's to know when that heat is leading to transformation versus destruction. Growth can be uncomfortable, but it's different from pain that hollows you out. Use this story as a life check-in. Ask yourself, what water am I in right now? Is it getting hotter? Am I rationalizing too much discomfort? What would jumping look like, and what's really stopping me? Because the frog that jumps doesn't fail. It saves itself. Conclusion, a lesson too big to ignore. The boiling frog story might sound trivial to some, but for those who really feel it, like you do, it's not trivial at all. It's a reflection of how people lose themselves, how dreams die, how pain becomes invisible. But it's also a reminder that we have the power to choose, to notice, to move. You're not a frog. You're a human being with awareness, courage, and the ability to jump, even if it's scary. Don't wait until it's too hot. Every now and then, life teaches us lessons through stories and examples that stay in our minds forever. One such story is the well-known tale of the frog in boiling water. At first, it may sound like just a simple experiment, but deep down, it carries a powerful message about how people live their lives without realizing slow but dangerous changes around them. If we truly understand this lesson, it can change the way we see our choices, our habits, and even the way we live each day. The story goes like this. If you throw a frog directly into boiling water, it will immediately sense danger and jump out to save its life. But if you put the same frog in normal, cool water and slowly heat it up, the frog won't notice the gradual rise in temperature. It will stay there, relaxed, thinking everything is fine, until it's too late and the water boils it to death. This isn't really about frogs. It's about us. Humans, more often than not, live exactly like that frog without realizing it. Think about life for a moment. Danger and big problems usually don't arrive suddenly. Instead, they creep in slowly. Bad habits form one small step at a time. Laziness builds day by day. Negative relationships drain us little by little. Unhealthy food, lack of exercise, toxic environments, none of these destroy us in a single day. They work like the slowly rising temperature, and if we don't wake up, we end up stuck in a life we don't want, regretting when it's already too late. Basically, the lesson here is simple. Pay attention to the small changes around you. When something starts feeling a little off, don't ignore it. Whether it's in your health, your work, your relationships, or your dreams, the warning signs always appear before disaster happens. But the problem is, people often get comfortable. Comfort feels nice in the moment, but comfort without awareness is dangerous. Just like the frog, we stay in situations that slowly destroy us because we don't notice the danger growing inch by inch. With that being said, the good news is that awareness can save you. If the frog had realized the water was heating up, it could have jumped out and survived. In the same way, you can always choose to step out of harmful situations before they trap you. Life will always give you signs: a tired body, an unmotivated mind, a broken heart, a restless feeling. Don't push these signs away. Listen to them. They are your body and soul telling you that it's time to act. So, the bottom line is this: don't be the frog. Don't let slow poison, whether it's fear, procrastination, toxic habits, or negative people, boil you without your knowledge. Stay alert, stay aware, and be brave enough to make changes when you need to. Success, happiness, and peace belong to those who notice the small dangers and act before it's too late. At the end of the day, life is short, and every choice we make is either raising the heat or saving us from the boil. So stay awake, stay strong, and whenever you sense the heat rising, don't just sit there. Jump, move, and create the life you truly deserve. That is how you avoid being boiled alive in the water of your own comfort zone. Confidence. I didn't act, I chose to become. There was a moment in my life, or maybe a series of moments, where I thought, maybe I'll just act. Act confident. Act strong. Act like a leader. In situations where pressure was high and expectations were louder than my own voice, I considered the idea of simply performing, just stepping into a version of myself that looked capable on the outside, even if I wasn't fully there on the inside. It wasn't because I wanted to lie. It wasn't about deceiving anyone. It was more like survival. Like maybe if I walked like I had it all figured out, people wouldn't question me. Maybe they'd respect me more, listen to me, believe in me. Maybe I could even start believing in myself just by pretending long enough. But the more I thought about it, the more something inside me said, that's not the way. I realized that acting wouldn't work. Even if I pulled it off for a while, even if no one noticed the cracks, sooner or later I'd know. I'd feel the gap between who I was showing to the world and who I truly was underneath. And that gap, it's unbearable. It eats you from within. So I made a choice. I won't act. I'll become. I won't put on a mask of confidence. I'll build confidence. I won't pretend to be strong. I'll become strong. I won't fake leadership. I'll grow into it. That decision changed everything. Because acting feels easy at first. You just mimic, perform, wear the image. But eventually, it gets heavy. It drains your energy trying to maintain something you haven't truly earned. It's like trying to walk in someone else's shoes. No matter how polished they look, they'll never fit right. Becoming, on the other hand, is real. It's raw. It's slow, sometimes painful, but every step forward is yours. When you become, you don't have to remember your lines or fake your posture. You simply are. You don't worry about being found out because you're not hiding anything. It's not glamorous. There's no audience clapping while you quietly work on yourself behind the scenes. No one's applauding when you admit your weaknesses, reflect on your flaws, or start from scratch. But that's where real growth lives, in the unfiltered, unposted, unseen moments. And you know what? That kind of growth lasts. It sticks. It shapes you. I started noticing the difference not just in how others responded to me, but in how I responded to life. When I chose to become instead of act, I felt more grounded, more honest. I didn't have to brace myself for people's opinions because I wasn't performing for approval anymore. I was working for alignment. becoming someone I could respect, regardless of who else was watching. Confidence didn't come from pretending I wasn't scared. It came from showing up while I was scared, from doing the thing anyway. Strength didn't come from acting tough. It came from showing up on the hard days, when motivation was nowhere in sight, and choosing to keep going. And leadership? It wasn't about titles or authority. It was about listening, learning, and leading by example, even if no one noticed. I've learned that the world doesn't need more performers. It needs more real people. People who are in the process of becoming, not pretending. People who say, I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. People who choose honesty over image, progress over perfection. So no, I didn't act. I didn't fake it. I didn't wear a mask just to impress anyone. I thought about it. I really did. I thought maybe that's how life works, that everyone's just faking it until they make it. But then and there, I realized something deeper. If I fake it, I'll always fear being exposed. If I become it, I'll have nothing to hide. And so here I am, still growing, still stumbling sometimes, but no longer performing, no longer trying to appear like something I'm not. I'm building myself from the inside out. No shortcuts, no scripts, no masks. That's a choice I'm proud of. And if anyone asks, I'll say this. I never acted. I decided to become. I will not please. I will not beg. I will become. There comes a point in life when you stop bending yourself for others. You stop making yourself small. You stop changing who you are just to fit into what others expect of you, only to be liked, accepted, chosen, or praised. That point has come for me now. From this day forward, I will not live to please others or put anyone above myself. I will not believe that someone else's opinion matters more than mine. I will not keep running around trying to prove I'm good enough in someone else's eyes. Because I already know where that road ends, and I don't want it anymore. Trying to please everyone is tiring. It drains you. It's like slowly abandoning yourself. Every time I made myself smaller to make someone else feel comfortable, I lost another piece of who I truly am. Every time I begged for love, respect, time, or attention, I gave away my own self-worth. But those days are over. I will not beg. I will not chase. I will not give away my peace just for scraps of attention. Instead, I will rise. I will place myself at the center of my own life where I belong. Not because I think I'm better, not to control others, but to claim my natural right to live fully, freely, and without apology. I will become the person who no longer waits to be chosen, because I've already chosen myself. I will become self-reliant. I will become self-sufficient. I will stand like a rock, steady, firm, whole, whether the world cheers or turns away. What's stronger than being liked by everyone? It's being at peace with yourself. I will not let my value be measured by how someone treats me. Their silence, their praise, their rejection, or their attention, none of it defines me. It never did. Because real strength isn't in how many people admire you. Real strength is in how much you respect yourself, especially in silence, especially when no one is watching. So I'm finished with twisting myself into shapes that are not me, just to belong. I'm finished letting someone's coldness steal away my warmth. I'm finished tying my happiness to how someone else feels about me. From this moment on, I choose me. Not in a selfish way, but in a sacred, respectful way. Because when I choose me, it means I don't need anyone else to fill the empty spaces inside me. I fill them with purpose, with growth, with my own light. If I must walk alone, I will still walk proudly. Because my strength is not in how many people walk with me. My strength is in carrying my own soul day after day without breaking. I will build a life where my joy does not depend on someone else's actions, where my smile doesn't fade just because someone turned their back, where I can say, you are free to go without losing myself in the goodbye. I will not just survive, I will thrive. Not to show off, not to get revenge, but for myself, because I owe that to myself. I've already spent enough years pouring into empty cups, begging for light in places full of shadows, hoping for something real in places built on lies. Now, I will be the water. I will be the light. I will be the truth I was searching for. And anyone who enters my life from now on, they will not find someone desperate to be loved. They will find someone who already is love, steady, strong, and whole. So here is my truth, spoken with fire and calm strength. I will not please. I will not beg. I will not lower myself. I will not wait. I will become. I will become self-reliant. I will become self-respecting. I will become my own anchor, my own light, my own safe place. No more acting. No more proving. No more pretending. Only becoming fully, completely, and without fear. Let the world do whatever it wants. I will be happy anyway. My happiness. There's a quiet revolution happening inside me, a shift, a truth, a powerful realization that I no longer need the world to behave a certain way for me to feel peace in my heart. My happiness is not contingent on anything outside of me. It doesn't depend on who stays or who leaves. It doesn't rely on being understood, praised, or approved. It doesn't break with rejection or bloom only with attention. It doesn't ride the waves of anyone's moods, words, or silence. Because finally, I've made it clear to myself, I'm done handing over the keys to my joy. I will no longer place my emotional well-being in someone else's hands. I won't live like a puppet to other people's choices. Their decisions, their opinions, their shifting behavior, that's their story. Mine is different now. My happiness is mine, and it is independent. It is unshakable, like a mountain, rooted deep, untouched by storms, unaffected by changing seasons. I used to think I needed people to act a certain way so I could feel whole. I thought if they chose me, loved me, showed up for me, then I'd be okay. But life taught me, sometimes painfully, that people are unpredictable. They come and go. They change. They love you today and drift tomorrow. So I stopped relying. Not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. Because relying on someone else to make me happy was a form of emotional slavery. I've found something better, something more solid. Self-respect, inner peace, personal power. You see, I don't want a happiness that wobbles when someone turns their back. I don't want a peace that evaporates because of someone's silence. I want something real, something that doesn't shake when life shakes me. And now I have it. Because I've started watering my own roots. I wake up and choose joy, not because everything is perfect, but because I've stopped waiting for perfection to feel alive. I smile, not because someone gave me a reason to, but because I gave myself permission to. I keep moving forward, not because people pushed me, but because I lit my own fire. My joy is not a response. It's a decision, and it no longer negotiates with anyone's behavior. No one will decide or dictate how I feel. Not anymore. People are allowed to make choices. They can walk away. They can misunderstand me. They can take me for granted. That's their right. But how I feel, how I carry myself, how I continue to glow, that's mine, and I protect it fiercely now. Because if I'm not in charge of my happiness, then I've handed my power away, and that's something I refuse to do ever again. So I let go. I let go of waiting for apologies. I let go of needing closure. I let go of expecting anything from anyone. And in that letting go, I found freedom. I found the version of me that doesn't flinch when people change. The version of me that doesn't beg for love, for attention, for clarity. The version of me that isn't threatened by solitude because I no longer fear being alone. I honor it. My solitude is peaceful now because I'm not lonely. I'm complete. So from this place of strength, let me say it clearly. My happiness is not dependent on anyone. It is not a fragile thing handed to me by others. It is solid. It is sacred. And it is mine. Whether I'm surrounded or standing alone, I remain whole. Whether they love me or forget me, I remain enough. Whether life flows smoothly or throws chaos my way, I remain steady. Because my joy isn't a reaction, it's a creation. So no more pleasing, no more bending, no more waiting. I will live. I will laugh. I will grow. And I will do it all for me. Not to prove anything to anyone, but to honor the soul that lives inside me. I've built something that no one can take away now. A happiness that's internal, a strength that's silent, a peace that's not for sale. And from here on out, I rise without needing a reason. I smile without needing permission. I glow without needing validation. Because I've made one promise to myself, and I intend to keep it. I will not let anyone dictate my happiness. Not now, not ever. The happy marriage story. There's this old dude, super chill, been married like 45 years. Some young guy once asked him, "What's your secret? How did you stay happy for so long?" The old man smiled and said, Every time my wife did something that upset me, I had two choices: confront her about every little thing, or assume she had a good reason. I chose not to know everything. I chose peace. Moral? If he had tried to know and argue every small thing, he would have destroyed the love. Sometimes not knowing, choosing trust instead, builds an empire of happiness. A good person. Being a good person doesn't mean being a pushover. Being kind doesn't mean being weak. And being humble doesn't mean you let people walk all over your heart like it's a doormat. Let's set this straight. Self-respect is not optional. It's survival. It's the line between living like a king in your own soul or crawling through life like a beggar for validation. You can be soft-spoken, gentle, compassionate, and still be a lion inside. In fact, the real ones always are. They're not out there showing off. They're not chasing fame or stepping on others. But if you try to play them, if you try to twist their truth, mock their journey, or spit on their peace, you'll feel the ground shake beneath you. Because you see, there's a limit. Even water, when pushed too far, turns into a flood. Even the calmest sky can crack open with thunder. And when it comes to self-respect, that's where many people misunderstand. They mistake silence for surrender. They think calmness means they can take advantage. But what they don't know is this: the fire is quiet until it burns. Your respect, your peace, your happiness, that's your inner wealth. You earned it. You bled for it. You healed through nights you thought would never end. And you built yourself back from ruins others would have drowned in. So when someone tries to throw dirt into that sacred space, when someone thinks they can disrespect you, laugh at your scars, or dominate your spirit, they better be ready for what comes next. Because no matter how peaceful you are, there's one thing you'll never allow: disrespect. You'll speak the exact language they spoke. Not louder, not softer, but clearly. You won't throw the first punch, but you'll throw the last word. You won't break people for no reason, but if someone's out here trying to chip away at your peace, they'll get a taste of their own medicine. And it won't be sweet. Because when you rise with the force of everything you've been through. You rise with the wisdom of every mistake, every lesson, every sleepless night. You rise with the calmness of someone who has nothing to prove, but everything to protect. People think only loud, aggressive folks are powerful. But there's another kind. The kind who walk in quietly, but leave a storm behind if they're disrespected. You don't brag about being strong, you show it through presence. You don't shout about being righteous, you live it through action. And when it comes to your dignity, you guard it like a king guards his crown. Because here's the truth: the world will test you. People will poke you, doubt you, lie to you, underestimate you. Some will try to step on your confidence, mock your dreams, or make you feel small, just to feel big. Let them try. Because you are not a victim of this world. You are not someone who bends in the face of injustice. You are not someone who begs for validation. You know your worth. You respect yourself too much to let anyone take that away. And if someone ever dares to challenge your peace, if someone comes out of nowhere to dance on your self-worth, to rob your inner light, you don't retaliate with ego. You respond with precision. You remind them, not violently, but with undeniable energy, you just made the worst mistake of your life. Because your silence is grace. But when necessary, your voice becomes a sword. And you know the most dangerous people out there? Not the loud ones. Not the ones barking for attention. It's the ones who've suffered silently and rebuilt themselves in the dark. They're the ones you don't want to mess with. So to the world, you say this: you don't want to fight. You don't live to argue. But you will never, not for anyone, lose your self-respect. You don't bow to people. You bow to truth. You bow to kindness. You bow to love. But if someone tries to humiliate you, dominate you, or destroy your peace, you become the storm they never saw coming. Because being a good person isn't about letting people abuse your goodness. It's about being strong enough to stay kind in a world that often doesn't deserve it, but also being strong enough to say no more. Not today. Not ever. And that's what makes you powerful. Not your voice, not your body, not your anger, but your unshakable self-respect. Your calm awareness, your quiet fire. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to honor who you are and never let anyone dishonor it. There comes a point in life where you must make hard decisions for your own sake. Not everything deserves a response. Not everyone deserves a place in your life. Not every situation deserves your attention. And truth be told, not every path deserves to stay open. Sometimes you have to deliberately cut off. You have to burn bridges. Not out of hate, not out of revenge, but out of self-respect, self-preservation, and vision for your future. Toxic people? You cut them off. You burn the bridge so that neither they can reach you, nor you can wander back in a moment of weakness. Negative influences? You cut them off. You burn the bridge so that you don't accidentally let them slip into your life again. Social media distractions, vulgarity, nonsense that wastes your precious time and energy, you cut it off. You burn the bridge so that even if your mind gets tempted for a second, there's no way back. The bridge is gone. The path is closed. You moved on. Because time is precious, focus is rare, and peace of mind is priceless. The truth is, life doesn't get easier, but it does get clearer when you intentionally, deliberately, courageously cut off what doesn't belong. Every so often, you'll have to do this again and again. Every now and then, you'll realize a few new people, habits, distractions have crept in, and then and only then, with brutal clarity, you'll have to burn those bridges too. It's not cruel. It's not selfish. It's necessary. At the end of the day, you are the guardian of your own mind. You are the protector of your own peace. You are the author of your own story. And some chapters can only begin after you've set fire to the old bridges that no longer lead anywhere worth going. Every now and then, our minds start overthinking. We keep replaying moments in our heads, second-guessing choices, and worrying about what if all the time. We imagine problems that aren't even real, look for hidden meanings everywhere, and think that if we plan more, we'll find the perfect answer. But overthinking doesn't help. It stops us from moving. It takes our energy, time, and courage. Every minute spent stuck in these loops is a minute we could be living, creating, and trying new things. Overthinking makes small problems feel huge. We beat ourselves up for mistakes, postpone things because we feel not ready, and fear judgment so much that we hide our ideas and feelings. We chase perfection and believe it will save us, but really it keeps us frozen. Overthinking tricks us into thinking our mind is helping, but most of the time it is the thing holding us back from acting, risking, and growing. The truth is, we can fight it. Life doesn't reward thinking too much. It rewards action. Mistakes are proof you're trying, not failing. Step forward, take risks, and trust yourself. When you act even imperfectly, confidence grows, opportunities appear, and fear loses its power. Your mind should guide you, not trap you. Think smart, yes, but act bold, fearless, and free. That's how overthinking stops, and life really begins. Hey there, good times are coming. Believe that with all your heart. Life has a funny way of testing us, pushing us, and making us feel like we're stuck in a loop of struggles and setbacks. But more often than not, those very challenges shape us into the person we're meant to become. Every little effort, every sleepless night, every silent tear you've wiped away, it all counts. None of it is in vain. The truth is, things don't change overnight. It's not about sudden miracles or perfect timing. It's about consistency. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it, about believing in yourself when no one else does, and about holding on when everything in you wants to let go. There are better days waiting on the other side of this grind, joy you haven't felt yet, peace you've been longing for, opportunities you didn't even know existed, and the version of you that's walking through fire today, that version will one day look back and smile, knowing it was all worth it. So keep going, step by step, breath by breath. Even if it's slow, even if it's messy. Progress is progress, no matter how small. Don't compare your path with others. Your journey is your own. Stay patient, stay grounded, and stay hopeful. Because yes, good times are coming. Not just in flashes or brief moments, but in full waves. You just have to be there to receive them. Hold on a little longer. You're closer than you think. Keep improving. That's where the magic is. Not in perfection, not in having everything figured out, but in becoming a little better every single day. Don't lose sleep over how and when your dreams will come true. That will sort itself out in time. What really matters right now is you. the person you're becoming in the process. We often get caught up in results. We want success to happen fast, love to come easy, and happiness to stay forever. But life doesn't hand out rewards just because we want them. It waits until we're truly deserving. So the first step isn't chasing the dream, it's becoming the kind of person who's ready for it. You want something big? Then grow into someone big. Want success? Build the discipline. Want love? Learn to give it freely and truly. Want peace? Clean the clutter in your mind. Most of the time, the dream is not far. It's just that we're not yet ready to receive it. So instead of stressing about the timing, focus on preparation. Keep showing up, keep learning, keep evolving. Let life see that you're serious about your path. And be patient with yourself. Growth takes time. You don't plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. You water it, you care for it, and you trust the process. Eventually, it blooms. With that being said, stop obsessing over outcomes. Start obsessing over effort. The results will follow. Deserve what you desire, and then watch how naturally it starts to find its way to you. You're on the right path. Keep improving. That's the secret. The right time will come, but only when you are truly ready. That's something most people overlook. We often spend so much time wanting success, longing for it, daydreaming about it. But the truth is, the universe doesn't operate on wishful thinking. It operates on readiness. You can want something all day long, but if you're not prepared, mentally, emotionally, and skillfully, it won't stick even if it comes your way. That's why the key isn't just in wanting success, it's in being ready for it. Ask yourself, are you the version of you who can handle the life you're dreaming of? If not, start working on that. Build the habits, strengthen your mindset, learn the craft, heal the wounds. It's not about being perfect, it's about being prepared. There's a reason why some doors stay closed. It's not punishment, it's protection. Life isn't saying no, it's saying not yet. And that's okay. You don't want to arrive at your destination unprepared. You don't want to meet the love of your life when you're still filled with self-doubt. You don't want the spotlight when you haven't built the confidence to stand under it. So instead of chasing the right time, become the right person. Do the inner work. Clean the inner mess. Upgrade your beliefs, your attitude, and your resilience. Because when you are truly ready, success won't just come, it will stay. Stop obsessing over the timing. That's out of your control. Focus on preparation. That's where your power lies. The right time isn't far, but the right you is what it's waiting for. Keep becoming that person. That's how it all starts. Take your responsibilities seriously, but not yourself. Means you should give your work, goals, and commitments your full effort. Show up, be reliable, do your best. But don't get caught up in ego or try to act like you're perfect. Laugh at your mistakes, stay humble, and don't stress too much about how people see you. You're human. Messing up is part of the game. Own your role, but don't act like the world revolves around you. Stay grounded, keep things fun, and remember, it's possible to work hard and still not take life or yourself too seriously. Act like you have been there before. Don't over-celebrate our wins like it's a one-time miracle. Instead, handle it with grace, like it's normal for you. It's not even about acting or faking anything. It's actually about knowing your worth so clearly that your actions naturally reflect it. When you truly believe that you belong, that you're capable, and that success is part of your path, you don't need to put on a show. Your calm, your composure, your quiet confidence. It all flows from that inner knowing. Every now and then, you come across a phrase that looks simple, but actually carries a lot of wisdom. Act like you have been there before is one of them. People usually say it when someone reaches success or achieves something big. It means, don't get too carried away. Don't act like it's your first time seeing happiness, and don't lose your balance. Instead, stay calm, stay grounded, and carry yourself with dignity. Success looks better when you handle it with quiet confidence. But this phrase isn't just about the good times. If you think about it, it's even more powerful in tough moments. Life isn't only full of victories. There are times of sadness, pain, failure, and heavy struggles. When those times come, act like you have been there before becomes a reminder that pain is not new to you. You have felt disappointment before. You have felt broken before, and you survived. So when trouble arrives again, act like you've faced it earlier, because deep down, You have. You've been through storms and still stood tall, so this storm too shall pass. Imagine you're starting something new, something big and important. Fear and doubt will try to stop you. That's the moment this phrase matters most. Act like you have been there before, even if you haven't. Carry yourself with courage, as if this is not strange territory. Pretend your heart already knows this road. That attitude builds confidence, and confidence brings results. The same is true in sadness. When grief or loneliness strikes, act like you've been there before. You know how to breathe through the ache. You know how to keep moving while carrying the weight. You may not control the pain, but you can control your response. And when you act steady, your heart slowly learns that nothing can truly break you. At the same time, this mantra keeps you balanced in happiness too. If you get too excited when life gives you joy, you may lose yourself in it. Acting like you've been there before means you enjoy the moment, but don't let it blind you. You stay humble, knowing that life has ups and downs, and this joy is part of the journey, not the end of it. So whether it's happiness, sadness, success, failure, or a new challenge, this phrase applies everywhere. Act like you have been there before. It's not about pretending, it's about remembering your inner strength, staying calm, and moving forward with dignity. Acting like you've been there before in good times means you're grounded. You celebrate, but you don't lose yourself. You enjoy, but you don't forget the bigger picture. But the real power of this phrase is in pain, sadness, and challenges. When life hits hard, emotions take over. Anger, grief, fear, and despair can blind you. But if you remind yourself, I have been here before, you immediately shift your mindset. You remember that you've survived storms in the past, and you'll survive this one too. You tell yourself this is not the end of the world, it's just another test. That simple belief gives you strength. When you act like you've been there before in hard times, it means you don't panic. You don't let the emotions crush you. Instead, you lean on that invisible power inside you, the calm energy that comes when you believe you already know how to handle pain. And that's when your decisions are clearer. That's when you can face the storm without losing yourself. Think about it. Happiness and sadness are just two sides of life. If you can act steady in joy and you can act steady in pain, then you've mastered balance. You stop being controlled by emotions, whether they are positive or negative. You become someone unshaken, someone who carries inner peace no matter what happens outside. If you're a friend to everybody, you're an enemy to yourself. Basically hits on the idea of self-betrayal through over-pleasing. When you try to keep everyone happy, agree with everyone, show up for everyone, more often than not, you start disappearing in the process. Your own voice, needs, priorities, they all take a back seat. Every now and then, a single phrase can change the way you see life. If you're a friend to everybody, you're an enemy to yourself. At first, it sounds harsh. Doesn't it sound good to be friendly with everyone, to be liked by everyone? But if you dig deeper, you realize this phrase holds one of the most important truths about life, respect, and self-worth. The thing is, when you try to be a friend to everybody, you end up pleasing everybody. You agree when you don't want to. You smile when you're actually hurting. You say yes when your heart is screaming no. Slowly, without even noticing, you start living for others instead of yourself. And that's when you become your own worst enemy. Because every time you betray your true feelings just to keep peace with someone else, you are wounding yourself from the inside. Life is not about being liked by everyone. It's about being real. Think about it. No matter what you do, there will always be people who disagree, who don't understand you, or who simply don't like you. That's normal. That's life. But if you try to win everyone over, you will lose yourself in the process. And losing yourself is the biggest loss of all. Being a friend to everybody often means you have no boundaries. You let people take advantage of your time, your energy, your kindness. You pour into everyone else's cup while leaving yours empty. You keep giving, but no one gives back. And then one day, you wake up tired, drained, broken, wondering why you feel so lost. The reason is simple. You became an enemy to yourself. True strength is saying, I can't be a friend to everybody, but I will be a friend to myself first. That doesn't mean you turn cold, selfish, or cruel. It means you respect yourself enough to set limits. It means you choose carefully who deserves your time, your loyalty, and your love. A real friend is someone who respects you back. If someone only takes and never gives, that's not friendship. That's a trap. The truth is, not everyone is meant to walk with you. Some people are only there for a season, some only for a lesson. If you try to hold on to all of them, you will keep carrying unnecessary weight. But when you protect your peace and choose wisely, you start living with freedom. You start walking lighter. And most importantly, you start honoring yourself. So remember this: you don't need to be everybody's friend. You don't need to be liked by everyone. What you need is to be true to yourself, to stand firm in your values, and to walk with people who uplift you, not drain you. Because if you're a friend to everybody, you're an enemy to yourself. But if you're a friend to yourself first, you'll attract the right people, the ones who value you for who you really are. Donkeys. What an animal. On the surface, they seem simple, even ordinary, but if you really look at them, you'll see something amazing. Donkeys are incredibly hardworking. They carry heavy loads, work in the sun, travel long distances, and never complain. They obey, they keep going, they help everyone. In many ways, donkeys are one of the most useful animals on the planet. People rely on them, and they silently do their job without asking for rewards or recognition. In Nepali, there's even a saying that a donkey cries if it cannot work. This shows just how much donkeys love to work. They are loyal, obedient, and completely committed to their labor. Yet strangely, donkeys are often used as insults. If someone makes a mistake or acts foolishly, people say, "You donkey." Why? How can the animal that works so hard and helps so much become a symbol of insult? On the surface, it doesn't make sense. Donkeys are hardworking, so shouldn't being called a donkey be a compliment? But here's the deeper truth. Donkeys are not just hardworking. They are also considered stubborn, foolish, and slow. They lack the cleverness that some other animals, or humans, have. So while they are physically strong and tireless, they are often seen as unintelligent. This teaches us an important lesson about life. Hard work alone is not enough. Just doing physical labor or putting in long hours does not automatically earn respect, success, or recognition. Being busy and tired doesn't guarantee you are creating value. In life, hard work must be combined with intelligence, creativity, and smart decisions. You need to develop your mind, learn new skills, and create things that matter. Otherwise, like a donkey, you may work endlessly but still be overlooked or undervalued. Think about it. If hard work alone made you successful, donkeys would be the richest animals on earth. But that's not how the world works. People respect those who not only work hard but also work smart. Those who think, plan, and make a meaningful impact are the ones who rise. That doesn't mean hard work isn't important. It is. But it must be directed, intelligent, and purposeful. Physical effort without thought is like a river that flows but never reaches the sea. So, when someone calls you a donkey, it might be tempting to feel insulted. But instead, reflect. Are you working hard like a donkey, but without direction or intelligence? Are you producing results that matter? This is not just about animals. It's about us. We all have the choice to be hardworking, like a donkey, or smart and creative, like a leader. The ultimate goal is to combine both. Be relentless in effort, but also wise in action. That's how you earn respect, success, and real value in life. At the end of the day, donkeys remind us of a truth we often ignore. Work alone does not define your worth. Skills, knowledge, intelligence, and creativity shape your impact. Don't just be busy for the sake of being busy. Don't just toil endlessly and hope respect will come. Use your hard work to create something meaningful, something useful, something valuable. Be more than a donkey. Be hardworking and wise, unstoppable but intelligent. This is the awakening reality of life, and embracing it can change everything. Donkeys are amazing animals. They are known for being hardworking, patient, and obedient. They carry heavy loads, work long hours, and rarely complain. In many parts of the world, they have been a symbol of endurance and strength. If you think about it, donkeys do almost all the hard physical work without asking for anything in return. They are loyal, dependable, and consistent. In a way, they are one of the hardest working animals on the planet. Yet strangely, people often use the word donkey as an insult. This seems unfair at first. After all, if being hardworking is a good quality, why would calling someone a donkey mean they are stupid or foolish? The reason behind this insult comes from the idea that donkeys work hard but seem slow, stubborn, or not very smart. People see them as animals who follow orders without thinking for themselves. They do what they are told, but they don't question, innovate, or show cleverness. That is why donkey became a symbol for someone who works hard but doesn't think smartly or doesn't show wisdom. So, what can we learn from this as human beings? First, it teaches us that just working hard is not enough. Being like a donkey, doing everything tirelessly without thinking, without planning, without learning, and without improving, can make people look at us as simple or unwise, even if we are putting in all the effort. Hard work is important, but it should be combined with smart thinking, strategy, and awareness. Otherwise, hard work alone may not lead to success or respect. Another lesson is about stubbornness. Donkeys are known to be stubborn, which is sometimes good because it makes them persistent. But if stubbornness turns into rigidity, refusing to adapt or think differently, it becomes a limitation. As humans, if we only do what we are told, follow rules blindly, or resist learning new ways, we are behaving like a donkey in the negative sense. We need to combine hard work with flexibility, curiosity, and intelligence. Also, donkeys work for others without asking for recognition or reward. That is noble, but in human life, if we only serve others or focus on work without thinking about our own growth, people may undervalue us. Sometimes, society praises intelligence, cleverness, or innovation more than simple hard work. This does not mean hard work is bad. It is essential, but it teaches us that to be respected and successful, we should work smart, not just hard. In short, being called a donkey is more about ignoring thinking, learning, and self-improvement rather than the hard work itself. As humans, we can admire the donkey for its dedication and perseverance, but we should avoid the mistakes it represents. Being slow to think, blindly following, being stubborn in a negative way, and not improving ourselves. The goal is to work like a donkey in terms of effort, but think like a human in terms of strategy, creativity, and intelligence. So, the lesson is clear. Don't just work hard, work smart. Be dedicated like a donkey, but also be clever, adaptable, and always learning. Don't let people call you a donkey because you are seen as foolish or slow. Be hardworking, yes, but also be wise, innovative, and goal-oriented. That is how we turn the donkey's qualities into real human success. The donkey is one of the most hardworking animals in the world. From morning to night, he carries heavy loads, walks long distances, and serves people without complaining. At first, this sounds like something we should admire. Being hardworking, patient, humble, and calm are all very good qualities. In fact, you might say the donkey is not just good, but very, very good. However, that is exactly where the problem begins. The donkey is too good, too calm, too obedient, and too silent. In a world that is not always fair, being too good can sometimes become a weakness. The donkey never thinks about himself. He never asks, why am I always the one carrying this heavy load? Why do people keep using me without giving me a break? Don't I also deserve care, respect, or a better life? Instead, he accepts everything quietly. If someone slaps him with a stick, he does not fight back. If someone shouts at him, he keeps silent. If people overload him, he still walks until his legs hurt. He never questions, never demands, never complains. At first glance, this looks like patience and kindness, but deep down, it is also a form of weakness. In life, everyone needs to think about self-care and self-improvement. We are not born only to suffer and accept problems forever. We are supposed to grow, learn, and move forward. The donkey never thinks like this. He never tries to change his life. He never asks for progress or a better future. He does not dream of being more than just a carrier of loads. He is too decent, too polite, and too silent. This is why people often laugh at him and use the word donkey as an insult. They see his silence and obedience not as strength, but as stupidity. The donkey is also very calm. Calmness is good, but if you are always calm, even when people disrespect you or exploit you, then calmness becomes dangerous. It means you allow injustice to continue. The donkey teaches us that being calm all the time is not the solution. There are moments in life where you must speak up, protect yourself, and say no. The donkey never says no. That is why he suffers silently and people take advantage of him again and again. This world respects cleverness, intelligence, and balance. If you are only hardworking but never smart, people will use you. If you are only humble but never strong, people will step on you. The donkey, sadly, has all the good qualities but does not know how to balance them. He is hardworking but never clever, patient but never ambitious, strong but never free. That is why people admire him from the outside. "Oh, donkey, you are so useful. You are so hardworking. I love you." But inside, they laugh at him. What a foolish animal, always working, never improving. So, what is the lesson for us humans? The lesson is clear. In life, you must change. You must think about your future, make plans, and work not only hard but also smart. You must stand up for your rights, speak against injustice, and refuse to accept disrespect. Being too silent, too obedient, and too humble will only harm you in the long run. Yes, kindness and patience are good, but they must come with wisdom, courage, and self-respect. At the end of the day, the donkey is still a great animal. He shows us the value of hard work, loyalty, and calmness. But he also shows us the danger of being too good, too silent, and too obedient. That is why people say, "Don't be like a donkey." They are not telling us to stop working hard. They are telling us to avoid the donkey's mistakes. We should be hardworking, but also ambitious. We should be kind, but also strong. We should be humble, but also brave enough to speak up. The bottom line is simple. Life requires balance. Without balance, even good qualities can turn into weaknesses. Don't live like a donkey, carrying everyone's load but forgetting your own worth. Work hard, but also dream big. Be calm, but also bold. Be kind, but never let others treat you like a fool. That is the true lesson the donkey gives us. Crazy. History is full of ideas that were once called impossible until someone bold, fearless, or maybe even crazy came along and proved the world wrong. From flying machines to space travel, from smartphones to artificial intelligence, every groundbreaking invention was once dismissed as a fantasy. People often resist change, clinging to what feels safe and familiar. Then comes the outlier, a visionary, a rebel, a so-called crazy person who forces the world to move forward. The fear of the unknown humans are naturally afraid of the unfamiliar. When something challenges what we know, the first reaction is usually doubt, ridicule, or even hostility. People once said the Wright brothers would never fly, that computers could never fit in a home, and that electric cars could never replace gas engines. This resistance isn't about logic. It's about fear. Fear of failure, fear of disruption, fear of being proven wrong. And yet, it's exactly this fear that makes breakthroughs so remarkable. The crazy ones who changed everything. Every age has its misfits. The ones who refuse to accept impossible as an answer. Nikola Tesla imagined wireless energy and was mocked. Steve Jobs believed computers could fit in our pockets and was laughed at. Elon Musk risked everything on reusable rockets when experts said it couldn't be done. These people weren't just intelligent, they were relentless dreamers, ignoring the noise, doubt, and criticism to chase their vision. The difference between impossible and revolutionary is often just persistence and timing. The first person is called a lunatic, the second is ahead of their time, and the third, a genius. Why society needs the crazy thinkers. Progress doesn't happen because everyone agrees. It happens because one person refuses to quit. Skeptics serve a purpose. They push innovators to refine ideas, to work harder, to prove themselves. But without the crazy ones, humanity would never advance. Every major leap, technology, medicine, art, came from people daring to question what others accepted as fact. So the next time someone says, "That's impossible," remember, they aren't stating a truth. My story. Hi. I'm telling you my story today. It's not the kind of story you'll hear at a party or from a crowd that's always so eager to share their opinions. It's more personal. Something I think about every now and then. The thing is, there are moments in life when you feel completely disconnected, like you're living a life that only you truly get. And in those moments when the world doesn't seem to understand, you might wonder if it's okay to still be here, living the way you do. To be honest, I've had days where the weight of not being understood felt heavier than I expected. It's like everyone around you has their own idea of how things should be, how you should be, and what you should do. But what happens when their version of you doesn't align with who you really are? I guess it's easy to get lost in those judgments, the ones that come from people who don't take the time to understand the complexities of your life. Maybe they look at you and think, why aren't you doing what I'm doing? Or why don't you see things the way I do? The truth is, their perspectives are valid from where they stand. But that doesn't mean it's the whole picture. In fact, it's barely even part of your story. What a lot of people don't realize is that we are all walking our own paths, sometimes in complete silence, sometimes with a lot of noise. There are moments when you don't fit into the box that society or even your closest friends and family try to place you in. But the thing is, that's okay. It doesn't make you less valuable, less capable, or less worthy of living a fulfilled life. You don't need the world to understand your choices to make them meaningful. In fact, sometimes it's better when they don't. Because when you're constantly trying to live for the approval of others, you start living a life that's not yours. It's a life dictated by their expectations, their timelines, their idea of success. But real success, the one that matters, is defined by how true you are to yourself. It's not about fitting in with the crowd or ticking boxes on a to-do list. It's about the journey you take, the way you grow, the lessons you learn, and the person you become. I've come to learn that even if most people don't understand, it doesn't invalidate what you're going through. If anything, it gives you the opportunity to find out who you really are, without the noise. It's in those times of misunderstanding, when you're isolated, that you start digging deeper. You reflect on your choices, your desires, your dreams. And that's when the magic happens. When you realize you don't need permission to live your truth. You only need to trust yourself. There are a lot of ways people live their lives. Some are more conventional, others more adventurous, and some even take unexpected, uncharted paths. But none of them are wrong, as long as they align with what makes sense for the person living them. Maybe it's working a job you love that others don't see the value in. Or it's pursuing a dream that doesn't fit into society's typical script for success. Maybe it's simply taking time to be still while the world rushes by in a blur. What's beautiful about life is that it's not a one-size-fits-all experience. What works for one person might not work for someone else. That's okay. We all have our own purpose to fulfill, our own way to do things, and that's what makes life so interesting and diverse. The world needs different voices, different stories, different dreams. So if most people don't understand your choices, it's not a reflection of their value or your worth. It's just that they're not meant to walk the same path as you. I've learned that sometimes the silence, the distance from those who don't get it, is where the growth happens. You stop looking for validation from the outside world and start finding it within yourself. You become your own cheerleader, your own guide. And that's powerful, because when you start living for your own reasons, for your own peace, the external noise begins to fade. To be clear, it's not that I don't value the opinions of others. I do. I think it's important to learn from people, to grow from those around you. But what I've also realized is that not everyone will understand your journey. And that's okay. The people who are meant to be there will support you. The ones who don't understand, they might just need time, or they might never get it. But at the end of the day, it's your life, your choices, and your happiness that matter. So, if you're sitting there reading this, wondering if it's okay to keep going when most people don't get it, yes, it is. It's more than okay. It's the only way to live authentically. Keep walking your path, even if it's lonely. Keep making choices that align with your heart, even if others don't see the point. You're the only one who knows what's best for you. And in the end, living for yourself is what leads to a life that truly matters. Hey world, once upon a time, not in a fairy tale, but in real life, I believed that kindness was the key to everything. Saying please, being polite, staying calm, being helpful, and showing understanding felt like enough to solve problems, open doors, and win people's hearts. That's what we're taught, right? Be good, do the right thing, and the world will be good to you in return. And sometimes it actually works. Sometimes respect can calm someone's anger. Sometimes a gentle voice keeps chaos from exploding. Sometimes your kindness is exactly what makes people listen. But then and only then, you see the other side, the harsh, real side. Because not everyone understands kindness. People are different, not just in how they look or what they believe, but in how they feel and react. Some people understand compassion, others only understand control. Some respond to kindness. Others only respond when you stand firm. And sadly, there are people who take politeness as weakness, who think decency is something they can take advantage of. When you offer them peace, they hand you war. That's when the perfect world idea breaks. And honestly, it hurts. Because if you're someone who respects others, follows fairness, and tries to do the right thing, you'll find yourself pushed aside, ignored, or even mistreated. You'll say please and get no reply. You'll ask with respect and get brushed off. You'll try to be the bigger person, but they'll see you as small. That's when the real lesson begins. You realize this world doesn't respond to everyone the same way. It's like people speak different emotional languages. And if you want to survive, you sometimes have to speak their language. That doesn't mean becoming cruel or fake. It means adapting. Kindness can still be your main language, but sometimes you must be firm. You have to draw lines, stand tall, and show strength. Some people won't respect your softness, but they will respect your firmness. They will understand when your quietness turns into steady power, when your calm smile turns into serious silence. Sometimes you don't just ask people how to treat you, you show them. Life is not a machine. It's emotion, ego, trauma, pride, and power all mixed together. You can't use the same method with everyone. You have to read the room, understand the person, and decide which side of you they'll respond to. It's like music. Some people need soft tunes, others need heavy drums, and sometimes silence says more than any instrument. You have to play the tune they understand. That's a survival skill life teaches you sooner or later. The ones who've lived through different people, good and bad, know this truth. They still carry kindness in their heart, but now they also carry fire in their chest and strength in their spine. They know when to speak with love and when to walk away. They know when to forgive and when to stay firm. They're not just nice people. They're wise people. So yes, in a perfect world, kindness would always be enough. But in the real world, sometimes you need to roar to be heard. You need to remind others you're not weak just because you're calm. You're not a fool just because you're kind. You're not a pushover just because you're polite. You're soft, but not fragile. You're kind, but not naive. You're peaceful, but you can be powerful. In this world full of different people, you must know both languages, peace and power. That's how you protect yourself, that's how you survive, and that's how you stay true to who you are. Gold versus food. Imagine this scenario. You're given only one choice, either 1 kilograms of gold or a plate of food every day for 3 months. If you take the gold, you get no food at all for those 3 months. If you choose food, you get no gold, just survival. At first glance, most people would grab the gold without thinking twice. Why? Because gold equals wealth, and wealth equals power, luxury, and everything we're conditioned to desire. But now, let's really think. Can you even survive 3 months without food? No. The body starts shutting down within weeks. That gold, no matter how valuable, becomes absolutely useless when you're starving to death. This example is a deep reflection of how we, as humans, think. We chase after wealth, status, and possessions, often ignoring the things that are actually keeping us alive. We are obsessed with more money, more success, more luxury, without realizing that our most fundamental needs are already being met. Would you rather be rich, but starving, or be well-fed, alive, and strong, but without the illusion of material wealth? It seems like an obvious answer when put this way, right? Yet in real life, people still prioritize money over health, possessions over peace, and greed over gratitude. The reason people take real wealth for granted is simple: comfort and illusion. When we have something easily, we stop valuing it. We don't appreciate food because we've never had to starve. We don't appreciate clean water because we've never had to beg for a sip. We don't value air because we've never struggled to breathe. But the moment these things are taken away, their true value becomes painfully clear. That's why this choice, gold versus food, is such a powerful reminder. It shows that our most important wealth isn't gold, money, or luxury. It's the ability to survive and thrive. Now imagine the reality if you made the wrong choice. Let's say you chose gold. The first day, you feel rich. You're excited about the possibilities. By the third day, hunger kicks in and the excitement fades. By the second week, weakness takes over. The gold sits there, worthless. A month in, your body is breaking down. The gold, once desirable, becomes a cruel joke. By the third month, well, you wouldn't even make it that far. But let's say you chose food instead. Every day, you eat, grow stronger, and stay alive. 3 months later, you're still here, healthy, and ready to work toward more opportunities. Gold can always be earned, but life, once lost, can't be bought back. So what's the lesson? If survival is the foundation, then things like gold and luxury are just extras. They mean nothing without health, strength, and sustenance. And this isn't just a hypothetical question. It's a reflection of how we live every day. People sacrifice their health chasing money, only to spend that money trying to regain their health later. Some work tirelessly to become rich, but forget to actually live. Others prioritize status and material success over the simple joys of life, until it's too late. The real wealth isn't in gold, it's in food, health, shelter, peace, and time. When we start valuing what truly matters, we stop chasing illusions and start appreciating life. If given the choice, food is the obvious answer, not just in this scenario, but in life itself. Because gold might make you rich, but food will keep you alive. And what's the point of being rich if you're not even alive to enjoy it? That's why, in truth, the value of gold collapses when compared with the priceless gift of one plate of food. All right, let's take things a step further. Imagine this. You made your choice a month ago. You went for the gold, believing it was the right move. A full 1 kilogram of pure wealth in your hands. You were excited, thinking about all the things you could buy, the life you could build, the success you'd achieve. But now, 30 days have passed. You haven't eaten a single bite of food. At first, hunger was just an inconvenience, something you could ignore. But as the days dragged on, it became unbearable. Your body grew weaker. You felt dizzy, tired, unable to think straight. Your hands, once gripping that gold tightly, now barely have the strength to hold it. You thought wealth would make you powerful, but now it's the exact opposite. You are at your weakest. And then comes the second choice. Someone stands in front of you, holding a single plate of food, fresh, warm, delicious. Your body screams for it. Your stomach, empty for a month, growls louder than ever. Every cell in your body is desperate for that food. But there's a price. They tell you, you can have this food, but only if you give up all your gold. What do? This is the moment where everything becomes painfully clear. The gold you once thought was priceless now means nothing. Because what good is gold if you're starving to death? You don't hesitate. You give it all up. Every last bit of that 1 kilogram of gold, gone, in exchange for a single plate of food. And the crazy part? You don't regret it for a second. That plate of food, something you would have ignored a month ago, now holds more value than all the gold in the world. This scenario is deep because it shows something important. Value is not fixed. It depends on the situation. What we chase isn't always what we need. Real wealth isn't measured in money, but in survival. If gold was truly the most valuable thing, then you wouldn't trade it away so easily. But now, in this moment of desperation, it's obvious. Food is king. Survival is king. It's a brutal lesson, but one that applies to life in so many ways. Godlike. True happiness is something everyone wants, but it's not always easy to find. Society often tells us that happiness comes from outside things, like money, success, relationships, or experiences. We are taught that the more we have, the happier we will be. But if we really think about it, happiness is not something we can buy or chase. It's something we create from within ourselves. One of the strongest ways to find true and lasting happiness is to try living in a more godlike way. When we think of God or a divine figure, we imagine perfect love, peace, wisdom, and kindness. These qualities are the highest form of goodness, free from negativity, fear, and doubt. Now imagine if, instead of searching outside for happiness, we turned inward and started to practice those same qualities. What if we became the love, peace, and kindness that we are always looking for? That's the main idea. If you want true happiness, you don't just chase it. You become it by living with divine-like qualities and letting go of negative ones. So, what are these godlike qualities? They are not just big ideas. They are simple traits we can practice every day. Qualities like love, where you care for others without expecting anything in return. Compassion, where you understand people's pain and try to help. Wisdom, where you see the truth behind things instead of judging quickly. Peace, which comes from being calm inside yourself and spreading that calm to others. Selflessness, where you put the greater good above your own selfish needs. Humility, where you respect everyone as equal. Forgiveness, where you let go of anger and free yourself from past hurts. Generosity, where you give without expecting reward. And patience, where you accept that good things take time. Living with these values doesn't mean you need to be perfect. You will still make mistakes, feel pain, and face challenges. But the more you live by these qualities, the more your life and relationships will change for the better. You step closer to your best, most divine self. But just as important as embracing these good traits is letting go of the bad ones. Qualities like jealousy, hatred, grudges, comparison, ego, greed, selfishness, arrogance, and dishonesty will only bring misery. They cause conflict, stress, and unhappiness. For example, jealousy makes you feel like you're never enough. Grudges keep you stuck in the past. Greed makes you want more and more without ever feeling satisfied. Comparison takes away your joy in the present. These emotions block you from peace and happiness. To live in a godlike way, you must choose to release these negative qualities. When you let them go, you make space inside yourself for peace, joy, and fulfillment. You stop searching outside for happiness because you begin to feel whole and content within. And when you live like this, you don't just transform yourself, you also make the world around you a better place by spreading love, kindness, and light. Confidence. Hey there! Let's talk about confidence. Real confidence, not the kind you put on like a mask. A lot of people struggle with speaking confidently because deep down they don't feel confident. And yes, there are apps, courses, and people who tell you, just say it like this, just stand like that, and you'll look powerful. But the truth is, that's just surface level. If all you do is focus on sounding confident, but you don't actually feel it inside, then it's just acting. You might fool people for a little while. You might even fool yourself. But eventually, life will put you in a situation where that fake confidence crumbles. And when it does, you'll realize it never had a solid foundation. Because confidence isn't something you memorize like a script. It's not a few tricks or lines you rehearse in the mirror. Real confidence is something you build slowly, deep inside yourself. It comes from knowing who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and accepting all of it. When you know yourself at that level, confidence becomes natural. You don't need to force it. Think of it like this. If you wear a superhero costume, does that make you a superhero? No. You might look like one for a moment, but deep down, you're still the same person. Real confidence is like real strength. You can't fake it with a costume. You build it. You build it through trying, failing, learning, and proving to yourself that you are capable. Now, some people will say, but if you practice speaking with confidence, won't you eventually become confident? And the answer is, maybe, a little. Practice might help you look and sound better for a while, but if deep down you're still full of doubt and fear, that confidence won't last. It's like painting over a broken wall. The cracks are still there, waiting to show. Confidence isn't just about how you talk. It's about how you think, how you act, and how you see yourself. If you don't fix what's inside, no amount of tricks on the outside will change that. The real work happens in your mind, through self-acceptance, learning, and growth. That's how confidence grows, not from pretending, but from becoming. So yes, an app might help you sound confident for a presentation. A coach might help you polish your words. But sounding confident and being confident are two different things. When life throws you a real challenge, fake confidence won't save you. But real confidence, the kind you've built over time by knowing yourself and believing in yourself, will carry you through anything. And that's the kind of confidence worth having. Awkward moments. Ever notice how some talks are just really hard? You know, those times when you have to bring up an awkward topic, ask for something that's yours, or say something uncomfortable. It's not easy, right? But here's the thing. If you do it with a smile, a little joke, and a light mood, it becomes much easier. You remove the tension, and what could have been an awkward or angry moment turns into a calm, easy talk. Take a common example, asking a friend to give back the money they borrowed. That's tricky. You don't want to sound rude or like you are nagging, but you also don't want to be ignored. So instead of saying straight, "Hey, when are you paying me back?" you could joke, "Hey, I had a dream last night that I was rich. Then I woke up and saw my money is still with you. Can I get it back and make my dream real?" See what happens? You talk about the problem, but not in a harsh way. Most of the time, the other person laughs, understands, and acts without feeling pushed. Now, another awkward thing, telling a friend they have bad breath or smell. Saying, "Hey, your breath stinks," would hurt, right? But if you make it funny, it's easier. Like, "Hey buddy, I think that garlic from last night is still partying in your mouth," works well. You say it, but with humor, so they don't feel embarrassed. Ever had to tell a coworker they are too loud while you are trying to focus? You could say, "Man, are you training for a speaking contest? Because you are loud enough." This way, they don't feel bad, but they know they need to lower their voice. The same works for reminding someone about a promise they didn't keep. Instead of sounding annoyed, joke, "Hey, I checked the calendar. It's been exactly 1 month since you said you'd help me move. Is today the day?" They get the message, but don't feel attacked. Even saying no to an invitation is easier with humor. Instead of, "I don't want to go," say, "Man, I'd love to, but my couch and I have a deep emotional bond that I can't break tonight." The person inviting you won't feel bad and may even laugh. This works in serious situations too, like relationships. Suppose you want to say something about your partner's habits. Instead of, "You always leave clothes everywhere," which sounds like a complaint, try, "Babe, are we starting an art show with your clothes on the floor? It looks very abstract here." It's funny, gentle, and still gives the message. Even at work, a light approach helps. If you are a boss talking about missed deadlines, say, "I think we need a detective to find your missing reports. Any clues when they'll show up?" You make your point, but without pressure. This way of talking helps in friendships, work, family, and even strangers. Telling someone standing too close in line, instead of "Back up," joke, "Are we dancing?" You're stepping into my space like a tango. Most laugh and step back. The best part is it removes defense. People naturally defend themselves if they feel attacked. With humor and a smile, they listen instead of defending. But there is a balance. If someone is really being careless or rude, humor should not hide the problem. In that case, being direct but still friendly works. Like, "Hey, I need to talk about something important. Let's fix this." Calm but serious. At the end, people like kindness and humor in hard talks. Next time you need a tricky talk, add a smile, joke, or light mood. You'll see it's much easier. And hey, if someone jokes about money you owe, just laugh. But don't forget to pay them back. Impress. There was a time when I used to care about how people perceived me, what they thought about my words, my actions, my presence. I would shape my behavior, tweak my choices, and even modify my dreams just to fit into an image that would be accepted, admired, or even just acknowledged. But now I don't feel the need, the urge, or the desire to impress anyone. I don't feel the pressure to make someone see my worth. My worth isn't up for debate. It isn't something that needs approval, and it surely isn't something that fluctuates based on the opinions of others. I have reached a place where I understand that true confidence is not about convincing people. It's about being at peace with who I am. And honestly, the peace that comes with this realization is something I wouldn't trade for anything. I used to chase validation. Maybe not openly, maybe not in an obvious way, but deep down, there was always this lingering thought, will they like this? Will they approve? Will they see me in a better light? That silent hunger for recognition was exhausting. It was like running on a treadmill, moving fast but getting nowhere. And the worst part? It was draining. It took away my energy, my clarity, my ability to focus on what truly mattered. But now, my energy, I save it for something fruitful. I don't waste it on trying to mold myself into what someone else prefers. I don't waste it on playing roles just to fit into someone's version of acceptable or admirable. I don't waste it on impressing people who, more often than not, don't even know what they truly want themselves. Why should I let their fleeting opinions shape the way I see myself? Why should I let external validation determine my internal peace? The truth is, people are always going to have opinions. Some will like you, some won't. Some will admire you, some will misunderstand you. Some will appreciate your essence, while others will completely miss the point. That's life. That's human nature. And if you spend your life trying to sway opinions in your favor, you'll always be at the mercy of forces outside your control. That's a game I refuse to play anymore. I don't need to prove myself to anyone. I don't need to justify my worth or my choices. If I make a decision, it's because it aligns with my truth, not because I think it will make me look better in someone's eyes. If I pursue a goal, it's because it means something to me, not because it will earn me admiration. If I express myself, it's because I have something to say, not because I need applause. It took me time to get here, though. Letting go of the need to impress isn't something that happens overnight. It's a process of unlearning, of peeling away the layers of conditioning that taught us to seek approval as if it were oxygen. But once you start peeling, you realize how much lighter life feels when you stop carrying the weight of unnecessary expectations. Now I move differently. I don't hesitate before speaking my mind. I don't overanalyze my choices based on how they might be perceived. I don't let the fear of judgment dictate my actions. I walk into a room without the subconscious need to prove anything to anyone. I exist freely, and that freedom is priceless. I also realize that the right people, the ones who truly matter, don't need to be impressed. They see you for who you are. They understand your worth without you having to spell it out, and they respect you without you having to perform. And the ones who need you to constantly impress them, they were never for you in the first place. So I let go. I let go of the desire to be seen in a certain way. I let go of the need for external validation. I let go of the invisible script that told me I needed to perform to be accepted. Instead, I just am. And that is more than enough. Now I invest my energy where it matters. I use it to build, to create, to grow. I use it to nurture my passions, to strengthen my mind, to elevate my spirit. I use it to shape the life I want, not the one that looks best to outsiders. I don't chase admiration, I chase fulfillment. I don't seek validation, I seek purpose. And most importantly, I don't waste time trying to impress anyone. I spend my time becoming the best version of myself for myself. Because at the end of the day, what matters is not how many people were impressed by me, but how deeply I lived my truth. What matters is not how many nods of approval I received, but how genuinely I honored my own path. What matters is not the applause of the crowd, but the quiet contentment in my heart, knowing that I am living in alignment with who I truly am. So no, I will not do anything just to impress anyone. I don't need to prove myself, my worth, or my significance to anyone. If you see it, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Either way, I am good. I am enough. And that is all that matters. Hi there, I want to share something important today. It's about how I feel, how I think, and how I choose to live my life. And to be honest, it's quite simple. I don't feel the need, urge, or desire to impress anyone. Not anymore. I will not go out of my way to do something just to make someone look at me differently, admire me, or give me their approval. I don't live for that. I don't need to prove myself or my worth to anyone. And most importantly, I don't need anyone's admission or agreement to validate who I am. You see, for a long time, I believed that I had to prove something. Maybe to friends, family, strangers, or even to people who didn't really care about me. I thought that if I achieved certain things, dressed a certain way, or behaved in a particular manner, people would notice me, like me, or respect me. But you know what? That kind of thinking is exhausting. It drains you. And in the end, it doesn't even bring real happiness. The truth is, trying to impress people is a never-ending game. Today, they like you for one thing. Tomorrow, they expect something more. It's like running on a treadmill that never stops. You keep running, but you never really get anywhere. And at some point, I realized I don't have time for that. My energy is valuable. My peace is priceless. And I choose to save it for something truly meaningful, something that brings me joy and fulfillment this peksa, not just temporary approval from others. People have their own opinions, their own judgments. No matter what I do, someone will always have something to say. If I succeed, some will cheer for me, but some will also try to pull me down. If I fail, some will sympathize, but some will also laugh. That's how the world works. And knowing that, I refuse to live my life based on what others think or expect. I will do things because they matter to me, because they make sense to me, because they bring me growth and happiness. If I dress well, it's because I like it, not because I want people to admire me. If I work hard, it's because I have goals to achieve, not because I want to show off. If I help someone, it's because I truly care, not because I want praise. I live for myself, for my own progress, for my own peace. It's not arrogance. It's self-awareness. I know who I am. I know what I stand for. And I know that I don't need to prove my value to anyone. The right people will see it without me trying. The ones who matter will respect me for who I am, not for what I do to impress them. And the ones who don't, well, their opinions don't really affect me. Once I stopped caring about impressing others, life became simpler. I felt lighter. I started doing things that truly made me happy, without worrying about whether people approved or not. I focused on growth, on learning, on experiences that made me a better person, not a person trying to win others' validation, but a person content with their own journey. And guess what? It's freeing. It's powerful. When you stop seeking approval, you become unstoppable. You no longer hesitate. You no longer fear judgment. You just do what feels right, and that's the best way to live. So if you're reading this and you find yourself constantly trying to prove something to the world, stop. Take a step back and ask yourself, why? Who are you doing it for? If the answer is not yourself, then it's not worth it. Live for you. Be your own validation. Save your energy for things that truly matter. And trust me, when you do that, life feels much better. That's my truth. That's how I live, and I wouldn't change it for anything. Wishes. Have you ever thought about what would happen if every single wish of yours came true? Imagine waking up one day and suddenly you have everything you ever wanted. Money, success, love, fame, luxury, power, happiness, and whatever else you ever dreamed of. No more struggles, no more hard work, no more waiting. Everything is just handed to you instantly. Sounds amazing, right? But what happens next? At first, it would feel like heaven. You would be excited, thrilled, and overwhelmed with happiness. You wouldn't have to worry about anything because all your desires are fulfilled. You could buy anything, go anywhere, do anything. There's no struggle, no failure, no pain. Life would be smooth and effortless. But here's the thing. Without struggle, without effort, without something to chase, life loses its meaning. The joy of achieving something comes from the process, not just the result. When you don't have to work for anything, like when there's no challenge, no journey, then things start to lose their value. Imagine eating your favorite food every single day. At first, it's great, but after a while, you get bored. The same thing happens with life. If you have everything without any effort, it all becomes empty. Think about a video game. If someone gives you all the cheat codes, unlimited money, unlimited power, and makes you win every level instantly, would you enjoy the game? No. The fun of the game comes from the struggle, the effort, the learning, and the improvement. Life is the same. When you get everything too easily, it stops feeling exciting. You stop appreciating it. More importantly, when you have everything, you have nothing left to wish for. No dreams to chase, no goals to achieve, no reason to wake up every morning with excitement. The feeling of accomplishment, the thrill of overcoming challenges, the pride in earning something, these are the things that truly make us happy. If everything is just handed to you, those feelings disappear. Look at the lives of some of the richest and most successful people in the world. Many of them feel lost, depressed, or empty despite having everything. Why? Because once they reach a point where there's nothing left to work for, they start feeling meaningless. That's why some of them keep pushing themselves to do more, to find new goals, new challenges, and new purposes. Happiness doesn't come from having everything. It comes from growth, from effort, from making progress. If a student could magically know all the answers without studying, would they feel proud of their success? No. The pride comes from the hard work, from the learning, from the experience. Life is meant to be a journey, not just a destination. If we were born with everything already given to us, we would never experience the beauty of dreams, hopes, and struggles. The bad days make the good days feel better. The failures make success feel sweeter. The hunger makes food taste better. Without contrast, everything becomes dull. So instead of wishing for a life where everything comes easily, maybe the real wish should be to enjoy the process, to find meaning in challenges, and to appreciate the journey. Because in the end, if you get everything you ever wished for, then you are left with nothing. Acts. Have you ever had someone say something hurtful to you? Maybe a friend betrayed you. Maybe someone insulted you. Maybe someone you trusted walked away like you never mattered. The person who hurt you might have forgotten all about it, but you probably remember every detail. You remember how it made you feel, how it changed the way you looked at them, how it left a mark on your heart. That's exactly what the axe forgets, but the tree remembers is about. The one who hurts doesn't carry the pain, but the one who gets hurt carries it for a long time. It's like when someone breaks a plate. Sure, they can walk away, but the plate stays broken. A lot of people don't even realize when they hurt someone. Maybe they just said something without thinking. Maybe they made a joke that cut too deep. Maybe they left when someone needed them the most. To them, it might have been just a small moment, a small mistake, an accident, but to the other person, it could have been life-changing. Think about childhood. A teacher might scold a student harshly and forget about it the next day. But the student, they might carry that moment for years thinking, maybe I am not good enough. A parent might say something in anger, thinking it's nothing, but the child might hold on to those words forever. And what about friendships and relationships? Someone might move on easily, but the one left behind? They remember everything, the good, the bad, the hurt. That's the difference. The axe forgets, but the tree remembers. Now you might be thinking, okay, so what do we do? Just carry pain forever? Not exactly. Life is unfair sometimes, and yes, some wounds stay with us. But we have a choice, to let the pain define us or to grow from it. A tree that gets cut doesn't stop growing. It takes time, but eventually new branches grow, new leaves appear, and it stands tall again. That's how people should be too. It's okay to remember, but we shouldn't let pain stop us from growing. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting, and forgetting doesn't mean it never happened. We learn, we heal, we move forward. My love, there are a million ways to describe beauty, but none are enough for you. You are more than beautiful. You are a masterpiece made by time, nature, and something divine. Every time I look at you, it feels like a moment stolen from forever, a moment I wish could last endlessly. Your eyes hold whole galaxies, untold stories, and dreams yet to happen. When you look at me, it feels like the world slows down, like even the air pauses to admire you, just as I do. Your face, full of elegance and warmth, speaks without words. The curve of your lips, the glow of your skin, the way your hair flows like soft rivers, everything about you is breathtaking. But you, my love, are more than just something to look at. You are a feeling, a presence that makes life more beautiful. Even more than your outward beauty, I am captivated by the light inside you. Your kind heart touches everyone around you. Your generosity makes even strangers feel welcome. You can turn the coldest day warm and make simple moments extraordinary. Your laughter is the sweetest music I have ever heard. It stays in my mind long after it ends, filling my heart with joy, reminding me why I love you so deeply. I see your strength and courage, the way you face the world gracefully. You are not just a pretty face, you are a force of nature. You dream with passion, love deeply, and live with purpose. Every challenge you overcome, every goal you reach, every act of kindness in a harsh world. These are what make you truly beautiful. Do you know what I love most about you? It is the way you make me feel. You make me want to be a better man. You make me believe in love and fate, in the idea that some souls are meant to find each other no matter where they start. With you, I have learned what it means to cherish someone completely, flaws and all. And if I haven't said it enough, let me say it now. I love you. With every breath, every heartbeat, every part of me, I love you. I love you not just for your beauty, though it is obvious. I love you for your mind, your heart, your dreams, your fears, your flaws, your strengths. I love the way you think, the way you see the world, the way you make even ordinary things feel magical. I love the quiet moments, the deep talks, the silly laughter, the shared silences that say more than words ever could. You might wonder why I'm saying this now. The truth is, I never want you to doubt how much you mean to me. I want you to know, without a single doubt, that you are cherished, adored, loved more than words can say. You are my greatest treasure, the true home of my heart. So, my love, believe me when I say this, there is no one else and there never will be. You are my forever, my always, my everything. I love you. Realize, life is a journey full of many experiences, some happy, some painful, and some that make us question everything we thought we knew. For a long time, I was always looking for happiness. I believed happiness was outside me, something I could find in people, achievements, or things I owned. I thought if I could get that job, that relationship, or that recognition, I would finally be happy. But no matter what I achieved or how many people were around me, I always felt a quiet emptiness inside. It was like I was chasing something I could never reach. I remember days when I felt really low, wondering why nothing brought me lasting joy. I depended on others to feel good about myself, seeking praise and approval from everyone. If someone complimented me, I felt amazing. If they criticized me, I felt crushed. My happiness completely depended on outside things, and that made me weak. I was like a leaf in the wind, moved by whatever life threw at me, with no real control over my feelings or self-worth. Sometimes I felt completely lost. I would ask myself, why am I not happy? Why do I feel like something is missing? I tried everything, changing where I lived, meeting new people, trying new hobbies, but nothing filled the emptiness. It felt like I was looking for something I couldn't even name. At the time, I didn't know it, but what I really wanted was peace of mind. I just didn't know how to find it. Then, one day, something slowly changed. It wasn't sudden, but over time, I realized that the moments I felt most at peace were when I was alone, thinking about my feelings and thoughts. I began to understand that happiness wasn't something I could find outside. It was something I had to create inside myself. This idea was both freeing and scary. Freeing because it meant I had the power to make my own happiness, and scary because it meant I could no longer blame others or my life situation for being unhappy. I started spending more time with myself, exploring my thoughts and feelings without judging them. I began journaling, writing down my experiences and emotions. Through this, I started to understand myself better. I realized I had been ignoring my own needs, always looking for approval from others instead of giving it to myself. I had been so worried about what others thought that I forgot to ask myself what I thought about me. One day, while writing in my diary, I had a powerful moment of understanding myself. I wrote, "While looking for happiness, you will eventually realize that the greatest happiness comes from yourself. This is called peace of mind." Reading this felt like a big truth finally revealed to me. I understood that real happiness comes from within, from accepting and loving yourself as you are. It comes from finding peace in your own mind, no matter what is happening around you. This realization changed me completely. I no longer needed other people or outside things to make me happy. I started taking responsibility for my own feelings and well-being. I practiced self-care, not just by exercising or eating healthy, but also by caring for my mind and emotions. I learned to be kind to myself, forgive my mistakes, and celebrate my small successes. I also stopped needing approval from others. I realized I couldn't please everyone, and that was okay. What mattered was being true to myself. I set boundaries, saying no to things that didn't fit my values or drained my energy. I spent time with people who supported and lifted me up, but I no longer depended on them for my happiness. I had found a deep inner peace that nothing could shake, no matter what life threw at me. This journey wasn't easy. Sometimes I doubted myself and fell back into old habits, looking for praise from others. But each time, I reminded myself of the truth I had learned. True happiness comes from within. Slowly, it became easier to stay grounded in this truth. I felt a deeper joy and contentment, not because my life was perfect, but because I had learned to find peace inside, even when life was challenging. I also saw that this inner peace affected every part of my life. My relationships got better because I was no longer seeking approval. I could love and be loved freely without losing myself. My work became more meaningful because I worked for growth and contribution, not for recognition. Even in hard situations, I could stay calm, knowing that my peace of mind didn't depend on outside circumstances. Looking back, I can see how much I've grown. I went from always searching for happiness outside myself to finding a deep peace inside. I learned that happiness is not a place to reach, but a journey of knowing yourself, accepting yourself, and loving yourself. It's about enjoying the present moment, no matter what's happening around you. It's about being kind to yourself, forgiving yourself, and celebrating yourself just as you are. This journey taught me that the greatest happiness comes from within. It's not something you can get from people, achievements, or things you own. It's something you create inside, through understanding yourself, accepting yourself, and loving yourself. When you find this inner peace, you realize it is the most valuable thing you can have. It stays with you no matter what happens. It helps you face life's challenges with calm and strength. It changes you from the inside out. So, if you are looking for happiness, start by looking within. Take time to know yourself, understand your thoughts and feelings, and grow a sense of inner peace. It isn't always easy, but it is worth it. When you find this peace of mind, you will see it as the greatest happiness of all. Once you have it, no one can ever take it away. Many of us chase happiness outside ourselves, maybe in a dream job, a fancy car, a relationship, or traveling the world. But often, even after getting these things, people feel like something is still missing. That's when we realize you can't just find happiness like in treasure. You have to grow it inside yourself. When you start living true to who you are, your values, your passions, your peace, that's when things start to feel right. That calm, content feeling you get when you're at ease with yourself, that's real happiness. That's peace of mind. And honestly, isn't that what happiness really is? It's not the loud, flashy moments, but that quiet, steady feeling of being okay with yourself. So yes, true happiness comes from you to yourself. Hello, everyone. Today, let's talk about something we've all seen around us, maybe even experienced ourselves. Relationships that seem perfect, but over time drift apart. At first, these relationships look unbreakable. They've got history, shared memories, and what seems like a solid foundation. But then, one day, out of the blue, one person decides to walk away, leaving the other in shock. Now, who's at fault here? Is the one who leaves the bad guy just because they decided to end things? Or could there be something deeper? Often, when we hear that one person has left, we jump to conclusions. It's easy to assume the one who leaves is selfish or careless, abandoning a partner who counted on them. But let's take a closer look because sometimes the story is not so simple. First, consider this: a person's breaking point. Imagine one partner has been quietly suffering for a long time. They've put up with things that might be small at first, but gradually become unbearable. Things like feeling dismissed or ignored, dealing with a partner who's overly controlling, or perhaps someone who's constantly nagging and won't let them breathe. Maybe they're dealing with a partner who doesn't respect their space, or is always questioning their every move, showing no trust. Sometimes it's even more serious. Maybe their partner has cheated, broken their trust, or simply stopped showing basic respect. When we're in love, we often tell ourselves that nobody's perfect, and we try to overlook flaws. But there's a limit. Everyone has their breaking point. After enduring things like disrespect, possessiveness, or narcissistic behavior, a person can only take so much. Eventually, they might reach a point where they feel there's no other option but to leave. Now, on the other hand, let's look at the second factor: boredom and desire for excitement. In some cases, the partner who leaves is driven not by a breaking point, but by boredom. Over time, people change, and so do relationships. What was once exciting can start feeling dull. It's possible one partner feels the relationship has become routine, lacking that spark it once had. Perhaps they feel like they know every word their partner is going to say, every expression, and every reaction. And while a relationship is about commitment and stability, we can't deny that physical attraction plays a role. Sometimes one partner might start looking for something new, someone different, simply because they're searching for a thrill or trying to reignite a sense of youth or excitement in their life. They might be drawn to someone younger, someone who makes them feel alive again, even if it's temporary. This search for something fresh can become a powerful pull, leading them to look outside the relationship. So we have two very different reasons here for why someone might leave a relationship. In the first case, the one who leaves has likely been suffering in silence, giving the relationship their all but finally reaching a breaking point. This isn't about disloyalty or lack of love, it's about self-preservation. They've endured mistreatment, lack of respect, or even betrayal, and they've come to realize that staying might mean losing themselves. In the second case, it's a different story. Here, the one who leaves might be searching for personal satisfaction, seeking excitement outside because they've grown restless or bored. Perhaps they feel the relationship no longer serves them the way it once did, and instead of working to reignite the bond, they go looking for something new. But what can we learn from this? First, it's important to recognize that relationships are built on more than just love and attraction. Respect, understanding, compromise, and open communication are essential. When one partner feels undervalued or unappreciated, it's only a matter of time before problems arise. So if you're in a relationship, remember to value each other's space, to listen, and to nurture the bond you share. Relationships need time and attention, just like anything we care about. Secondly, the idea of forever in relationships can be misleading. Even the strongest bonds require constant effort. And if we ever feel like something is missing or that things are growing stale, the solution isn't necessarily to walk away. Sometimes, reigniting a relationship takes looking within, working on yourself, and asking what could be done to keep the love alive. How karma works. The idea of karma operates on several key principles. Cause and effect. Every action has a cause and an effect. The effect of an action is the karma that follows from it. Intention matters. Not just the physical act, but the intention behind it plays a crucial role in determining the karma. Non-transferable. Each person is responsible for their own karma. You cannot transfer your karma to someone else, nor can someone else's karma be transferred to you. Long-term consequences. The effects of karma are not immediate, but can manifest over time, sometimes in unexpected ways. Collective karma. Actions taken collectively by groups of people can create shared karma. Types of karma. There are generally considered to be two main types of karma. Sanchita karma. This is the total sum of all karma accumulated throughout a person's existence. It's like a cosmic bank account of all their past actions. Sanchita karma is a Sanskrit term from Hindu philosophy. It refers to the accumulated actions, deeds, and experiences of a person from all their past lives. Think of it as a huge karmic storehouse, or a big bank of all the good and bad things you have ever done. Every action, whether kind, selfish, helpful, or harmful, adds to this collection. This karma doesn't just disappear. It stays with you and can influence your present life. Some of these past actions create good results, like opportunities, health, or happiness. Others create bad results, like difficulties, challenges, or obstacles. The tricky part is that not all Sanchita karma will manifest immediately. Only some of it becomes active in a life. This active portion is called prarabdha karma, which shapes the events you experience now. The rest remains stored, waiting for future manifestation. The idea is that life is a mix of these karmas, past actions influencing present circumstances. By understanding Sanchita karma, a person can realize why certain things happen in life and can consciously act in the present to reduce negative karma and create positive karma for the future. It encourages responsibility, self-improvement, and spiritual growth. Sanchita karma is much deeper than just the baggage of actions in this life. It's the accumulated karma from all your past lives, spanning countless experiences, decisions, and deeds. It's not something you can fully see or feel in the present. It's almost like a hidden library of your soul's history, influencing your tendencies, challenges, and circumstances in ways you might not understand. Every thought, word, and action from past lives contributes to this storehouse. Some of it waits quietly, while some manifests in this life as challenges, opportunities, or natural inclinations. That's why people sometimes feel fated towards certain struggles or talents. It's Sanchita karma playing out. This refers to the portion of Sanchita karma that is ready to be experienced in the current life. It's the karma that's currently active and influencing your circumstances. Prarabdha karma is the portion of Sanchita karma, all past life karma, that has matured and is currently shaping your present life. Think of it like this. Sanchita karma is a huge storehouse of all past actions from countless lifetimes, but only some of it ripens to influence your current life. This ripe portion is Prarabdha karma. It determines the major events, challenges, and experiences you face in this life, like your birth circumstances, family, health, and life lessons. Unlike other karmas, you cannot completely avoid Prarabdha karma. You must live through it, learn from it, and experience its consequences. However, how you respond to it is in your control. Through conscious actions, self-awareness, and spiritual practices, you can soften its impact, reduce suffering, and even transform some of its effects into growth and strength. In short, Prarabdha karma is the active karma, influencing your present life, coming from past life actions, and it shapes the story you are living right now. The rest of Sanchita karma waits in the background for future ripening. Prarabdha karma is the part of your past actions that is affecting your life right now. It is like your destiny or fate for this birth. It comes from your Sanchita karma, which is the total of all your past actions. A portion of this past karma is chosen to happen in this life to help you grow spiritually. This karma decides many things about your life, such as your birth family, your body, your natural talents, and your mental tendencies, samskaras. You experience it through your current body and life circumstances. Key points. Conditions of birth. It decides where, when, and to whom you are born, including your family, your lineage, and your genetic traits. Beyond direct control. You cannot directly control the effects of Prarabdha karma. The best way to deal with it is to accept it calmly and peacefully. Selection for a lifetime. From all your past actions, Sanchita karma, the part that is most useful for your spiritual growth in this life is chosen to be experienced. Experience and completion. The only way to finish Prarabdha karma is to live through its effects, pay the debt it represents. Once experienced fully, it is exhausted. The laws of karma. Many spiritual traditions outline specific laws or principles that govern karma. Here are some commonly cited ones. The law of cause and effect. Whatever seed you plant will produce a corresponding fruit. The law of creation. You are the co-creator of your reality through your thoughts and actions. The law of humility. True wisdom comes from recognizing the limitations of your knowledge and power. The law of responsibility. You are responsible for your own life and experiences. The law of connection. Everything in your life is interconnected. The law of focus. Concentrate on one thing at a time to achieve your goals. The law of giving. Give to the world what you wish to receive. The law of change. The only constant is change. Adapt to stay balanced. The law of patience and reward. Consistent effort leads to eventual reward. The law of now. Make the most of the present moment. Understanding the consequences of power and karma. In today's world, we often see individuals in positions of power and privilege acting irresponsibly, thinking that they can get away with their actions without facing any repercussions. It can be tempting to believe that because one has power, their decisions won't be scrutinized or challenged. This mindset can lead to a range of negative behaviors, including exploitation, oppression, and disregard for the well-being of others. However, this perspective fails to recognize the fundamental principle of karma, which serves as a reminder that every action has consequences. Karma is a concept derived primarily from Hinduism and Buddhism, and it signifies the law of cause and effect in our lives. According to this principle, every action produces a corresponding result. Good actions lead to positive outcomes, while harmful actions breed negative consequences. It is crucial to understand that karma does not operate based on the presence or absence of external observers. Instead, it functions like an internal system that records our intentions and actions. When someone in a position of power chooses to exploit others, whether through unethical behavior, manipulation, or abuse of privilege, they often do so under the illusion that they are untouchable. They may think, I have the power, and no one can challenge me, leading to harmful deeds without any immediate fear of consequences. However, this is a dangerous fallacy. The principle of karma assures us that regardless of our status or perceived invulnerability, our actions will eventually come back to us. The illusion of invincibility. People who act without considering the impact of their actions often believe they are invincible. They may justify their harmful behavior by telling themselves that no one is watching or that they will never be held accountable. This sense of invincibility can foster a toxic environment where wrongdoings are committed on a large scale, as individuals feel emboldened by their status. However, the reality is starkly different. Karma operates in ways that individuals often cannot anticipate. The bad deeds done in secrecy can resurface in various forms, whether through personal suffering or unexpected challenges in life. This means that the harmful actions taken against others will eventually manifest in one's own life, often in ways that are indirect or subtle but nonetheless impactful. The reality of karma, a hidden registry. Think of karma as an invisible ledger, where every action, good or bad, is recorded. For those who commit wrongful acts, this ledger does not remain stale. Rather, it accumulates debts that will eventually need to be settled. This can occur in various ways, through personal loss, misfortunes, or circumstances that reflect the harm previously inflicted on others. A common misconception is that doing good deeds later in life can offset previous wrong actions, as if one can buy a get-out-of-jail-free card. While good deeds are important, they do not erase past wrongs. Instead, karma requires individuals to experience the consequences of their actions fully. In essence, no matter how much good one tries to do after committing wrongs, those prior actions must still be acknowledged and faced. The cycle of consequences. Every person has a moral responsibility to consider how their actions affect others. When someone chooses to act out of greed, malice, or arrogance, they not only bring harm to others, but also set in motion a cycle that ultimately impacts their own life. This cycle is not linear. It can twist and turn in unpredictable ways. A person may feel that they have escaped the consequences of their actions temporarily, only for these consequences to manifest later in life when least expected. For example, a CEO who exploits sweatshop labor may initially see financial gain and personal success. However, the long-term effects of these exploitative practices could lead to a tarnished reputation, legal issues, or personal relationships suffering as a result of their behavior. They may experience feelings of emptiness or dissatisfaction, despite outward appearances of success. Accepting responsibility. The truth is, everyone will face their karma at some point. This is a natural part of life, serving as a reminder that our actions echo beyond our immediate circumstances. Recognizing this reality is crucial for personal growth and moral development. Accepting responsibility for one's actions can be a painful yet liberating experience. It leads to introspection, recognizing faults, and ultimately striving towards better choices in the future. Moreover, understanding the principle of karma encourages empathy. When we acknowledge that harmful actions can come back to affect us, it can inspire a shift in how we view our interactions with others. Instead of allowing privilege to cloud judgment, we can lead our lives with kindness, reinforcing a cycle of positivity and goodwill. Conclusion. In conclusion, those who engage in harmful actions due to their position of power should take heed of the consequences that lie in wait. The belief that one can escape the ramifications of their actions is a misleading perception that can lead to serious repercussions later in life. Karma teaches us that we cannot hide from the reality of our deeds. They will eventually resurface, reminding us of the impact we have on others. To lead a fulfilling life, rooted in positive experiences and supportive relationships, one must choose to act with integrity, regardless of their status or privilege. This reflection not only enriches our own lives, but contributes positively to the world around us. The illusion of power, a dangerous trap that can lead to a downfall, is often fueled by the belief that one can act with impunity. Those in positions of power or privilege may succumb to the temptation to abuse their authority, thinking they can escape the consequences of their actions. This dangerous mindset, however, ignores the fundamental laws of karma, the universal principle of cause and effect. Karma, a concept deeply rooted in many spiritual traditions, suggests that every action, positive or negative, has a corresponding reaction. It's a cosmic law that ensures balance and justice, regardless of one's social status or perceived power. While the immediate repercussions of harmful actions may not be apparent, the karmic debt will eventually come due. When individuals abuse their power to exploit or harm others, they create negative karma. What? This negative energy accumulates, and sooner or later, it will manifest in the form of suffering or misfortune. The severity of the consequences may vary, but the principle remains the same. Actions have consequences. It's important to remember that no one is above the law of karma. Even the most powerful individuals cannot escape its reach. History is replete with examples of tyrants and dictators who, despite their apparent invincibility, eventually face justice, either in this life or the next. The belief that one can get away with wrongdoing is often rooted in a lack of empathy and a distorted sense of self-importance. Those who prioritize their own desires and disregard the well-being of others are ultimately harming themselves. By sowing seeds of negativity, they create a toxic environment that will eventually consume them. On the other hand, those who practice compassion and kindness create positive karma. By helping others and spreading love, they attract positive energy into their lives. This positive energy can manifest as good fortune, happiness, and fulfillment. Therefore, it is crucial to cultivate a sense of humility and responsibility. Even those in positions of power should strive to use their influence for the betterment of society. By acting with integrity and compassion, they can create a more just and harmonious world. In conclusion, the illusion of power can be a dangerous trap. It's essential to remember that every action, no matter how seemingly insignificant, has the potential to impact others and oneself. By understanding the laws of karma and practicing compassion, we can navigate life with a greater sense of purpose and peace. Wrestling. You might have heard the old saying, never wrestle with a pig, you both get dirty, and the pig likes it. It's a funny image, but it's also a very wise piece of advice that can apply to many parts of our lives. The phrase isn't really about pigs, of course. It's about arguments and pointless conflicts, especially with people who enjoy creating them. The pig in this saying is a person who loves drama, conflict, or being negative. They thrive on the mess and chaos that fighting creates. Think about it this way. When you argue with a person who loves conflict, you're entering their world. You have to lower yourself to their level. You might start out trying to be logical or reasonable, but the longer the argument goes on, the more likely you are to get angry or upset. You get pulled into the dirt and mud of their messy emotional space. And while you're getting dirty and feeling frustrated, the other person is often enjoying the fight. They've succeeded in dragging you into a situation where they feel comfortable and in control. They might be happy to continue the argument for hours while you just want it to end. So what's the lesson here? The first part is to choose your battles wisely. Not every comment or disagreement is worth your time and energy. Sometimes the best thing to do is just walk away. It's a way of protecting your own peace and emotional well-being. By refusing to engage, you're not giving the other person what they want. You're staying clean while they're left alone in the mud. The second part of the lesson is about recognizing who you're dealing with. If you realize that someone is only interested in a fight and isn't looking for a real solution, then it's a clear sign to disengage. It's not about being weak or giving up. It's about being smart and preserving your dignity. The next time you feel yourself getting dragged into a pointless argument, remember the pig. Take a deep breath and ask yourself if this is a battle you really want to fight. Often, the best choice is to simply step back and let the pig have the mud pit to itself. Dirty game. Every now and then, life throws us into situations where someone tries to drag us into a fight, an argument, or a meaningless debate. That's where this famous saying comes in. Never wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, and the pig likes it. At first, it sounds funny and maybe even silly, but if you think deeply, it carries a powerful life lesson. It's not really about pigs or mud. It's about people and choices. Let's break it down in easy English so it feels clear and relatable. The pig in this saying represents people who love drama, conflict, and negativity. These are the types of people who enjoy arguing for the sake of arguing. They don't care about finding the truth or solving a problem. Instead, they just want to drag others into their messy world. Just like a pig feels comfortable in the mud, such people feel comfortable in negativity, gossip, and pointless fights. When you choose to wrestle with them, whether it's by arguing, defending yourself too much, or getting caught up in their games, you end up dirty too. In other words, you lose your peace, waste your time, and feel drained. Even if you think you're winning the argument, the truth is you've already lost because you allowed yourself to step down into the mud where they live. Think about this. If you argue with someone who refuses to listen, are you really getting anywhere? You may try your best to explain, but they twist your words, make you angry, and drag you lower and lower. At the end, your energy is gone, your mood is ruined, and nothing changes. That's exactly what getting dirty means. You come out feeling worse than before. Meanwhile, the other person feels happy because, unlike you, they actually enjoy the fight. This lesson is especially important in daily life. Every now and then, we meet people who insult, provoke, or test our patience. Sometimes it's at work, sometimes in our family, or even online. The natural instinct is to fight back, to prove ourselves right. But the saying teaches us that wisdom lies in walking away. Silence is more powerful than shouting back. Ignoring is often the best response. Why? Because when you refuse to wrestle, you keep your dignity, your calm, and your strength. Let's take an example. Imagine you're working hard in your office, and a colleague who is jealous of you tries to spread rumors. If you fight with them, go back and forth, shout or argue, you only make the situation worse. People will not just see them as the problem. They'll see you involved too. But if you stay calm, keep working, and let your results speak louder than words, you rise above the mud, you stay clean. This doesn't mean you should never defend yourself or stay silent in situations where speaking is necessary. But it does mean you should choose wisely. Not every fight is worth fighting. Some fights are just traps to pull you down. The stronger person is not the one who argues the loudest, but the one who knows when to walk away. Deep down, the message is simple: protect your peace. Your time and energy are too valuable to waste on meaningless battles. Life is short, and every moment spent in anger or drama is a moment you can never get back. By refusing to wrestle with pigs, you choose self-respect over nonsense, wisdom over ego, peace over chaos. At the end of the day, remember this: when someone tries to drag you into the mud, you don't have to go. Stay standing tall. Let them roll in the dirt if they want. You don't belong there, and that's the real victory. There are people in this world who don't just tolerate chaos, they crave it. For them, conflict isn't painful, it's pleasure. Negativity isn't poison, it's oxygen. They breathe it in, they live on it, and they're masters at it. Just like pigs rolling in the mud, some people roll in drama, gossip, arguments, and dirty games. It's where they belong. It's where they feel strong. Now here's the danger. The moment you step into their world, you're already at a disadvantage. You don't live in that mud. You're not used to that dirt. Your instincts, your values, your sense of decency, it doesn't fit there. So while you're struggling to make sense, to bring clarity, to be understood, they're grinning. They're enjoying every second. Because for them, this isn't a fight. It's a feast. Think of it like entering a crooked gambler's den. You walk in with fairness, with honesty, with rules. But the table is rigged, the dice are loaded, and the gambler has been cheating his whole life. No matter what you do, you will lose. And worse, you'll walk out humiliated, angry, and exhausted. Meanwhile, he'll be laughing, satisfied that he dragged you down into his rigged little game. That's what wrestling with a pig really means. The pig doesn't just fight you, he pulls you into his territory, into his mud, into his dirt. And while you're suffocating, while you're covered in filth, while you're wondering why you even stepped there, he's having the time of his life. Here's a real picture. Imagine you're in a heated argument with someone who clearly doesn't want the truth. They just want to win. You give logic, they twist it. You bring facts, they laugh. You stay calm, they provoke harder. By the end, you're drained, your mood is wrecked, and nothing has changed. That's the mud. That's the dirt. You thought you were entering a conversation, but you walked straight into their trap. And the worst part? They like it. They enjoy watching you lose control. They enjoy dragging you down to their level. You think you're fighting for something meaningful. But really, you've just been playing in their sandbox of nonsense. The real wisdom, then, is not about fighting harder. It's about refusing to fight at all. Not because you can't, but because you know better. Silence, distance, and walking away are not signs of weakness. They're signs of power. They show that you know where your energy belongs, and it doesn't belong in someone else's mud pit. Your life is too valuable to be wasted proving a point to people who don't even care. Your time is too precious to be spent in dirt. Save it for things that lift you higher, for people who actually listen, for dreams that deserve your fire. At the end of the day, let the pigs have their mud. Let them wallow, let them fight, let them play dirty. That's their kingdom. That's their joy. But it's not yours. You belong somewhere cleaner, calmer, higher. And the moment you understand that, you'll never wrestle in the mud again. You'll walk away with your dignity intact, untouchable. You can't literally compete with a dog in a barking contest. Sometimes wisdom hides in the simplest sayings. You can't literally compete with a dog in a barking contest. Sounds funny at first, but if you think deeply, it carries a strong life lesson. A dog is made to bark. That's its nature. No matter how hard you try, you will never outbark a dog. You will only look foolish trying. The same thing happens in real life. There are people who love to argue, fight, or shout. It is their habit, almost like barking is for a dog. If you try to match them in their game, you will lose. Even if you win the argument, you still lose your peace, your dignity, and your time. You come down to their level, and in the end, nothing good comes out of it. The wise person understands that not every battle is worth fighting. When someone is barking, shouting, or trying to drag you into useless drama, the smartest choice is not to bark back. Silence, patience, and walking away are far more powerful than raising your voice. Dogs may keep barking, but you don't have to. This saying also teaches us about self-control. Anyone can get angry. Anyone can shout. But not everyone can stay calm when provoked. Staying calm shows strength. It proves that you are not controlled by others' behavior. It proves you have mastery over yourself. That is where true power lies. Think about it this way. If a dog barks at the moon does not bark back. The moon shines, no matter what. That is how we should be. Let others bark if they want, but don't let it disturb your light. At its core, this wisdom reminds us to protect our energy. Don't waste it on people or situations that don't deserve it. Don't try to beat someone at their own nonsense. Instead, rise above. The moment you realize you don't have to compete in every barking contest, life becomes lighter, more peaceful, and more powerful. So the bottom line is simple. You cannot outbark a dog, and you should not even try. Your silence, your calmness, and your dignity are your greatest strengths. We all know that feeling. Someone says something unfair or rude to us. It feels like a challenge, like a dog barking right in your face. Your first instinct is to bark back. You want to argue, to prove your point, to show them they are wrong. You want to win the argument. But here is the deep wisdom. You can't win a barking contest with a dog. Think about it. A dog loves to bark. Barking is what they do best. They are happy when they are barking. They have strong vocal cords and endless energy for it. They live for the noise and the excitement. If you start barking back, you are stepping into their world, playing their game on their turf. You are not a dog. You don't love barking. You might try it for a minute or two, but you will quickly get tired. Your throat will get sore. You will use up all your energy and feel exhausted. Meanwhile, the dog is just getting started. They will never get tired. They will beat you every single time because this is their specialty. It is their comfort zone. In life, some people are like those dogs. They love drama, arguing, and negativity. They thrive on conflict. It is their dirty territory. They know every corner of it. When they bark, by being negative, starting fights, or criticizing, they are inviting you into their messy space. If you accept the invitation and step into that space, you have already lost. You are now standing in the mud with them, getting just as dirty. You are wasting your precious energy on a game you were never meant to play. So what should you do instead? The powerful move is to not play the game at all. Do not engage. When the barking starts, do not bark back. Step away. Create some distance. This doesn't always mean physically walking away, though sometimes that is the best option. It means stepping away emotionally and mentally. You can do this by not responding to the negativity. You can change the subject. You can simply say, "I'm not going to discuss this," and then be quiet. You can choose to ignore the comment completely. The key is to not get involved. Don't throw your energy into their dark cloud. This is not about losing. This is about being smarter. You are choosing to protect your peace. Your inner peace, your happiness, and your calm mind are more important than winning a silly argument with someone who loves to fight. By refusing to bark, you win in a much bigger way. You win by keeping your energy for things that matter. You win by staying happy and calm. You win by showing that their negativity has no power over you. You remain the human, and you let the dog keep barking. Eventually, when no one is barking back, they often just stop. Remember, you get to choose where you spend your energy. Don't waste it in a barking contest you were never designed to win. Save it for the things you truly love and enjoy. That is how you live a good life. Life has a quiet, sharp truth. Some people are foolish. They do not listen. They do not see beyond their own pride and ego. If you try to teach them, no matter how kind or patient you are, they will not be grateful. Often, they will turn against you. They will make you an enemy. It is strange but real. You offer advice, guidance, or wisdom with a pure heart. You want to help them avoid mistakes, to see what you see. But foolish people cannot accept truth. They feel threatened. They feel judged. Instead of seeing your intentions, they see only criticism. In their mind, you are the problem, not their stubbornness. This is why wisdom tells us to be careful. Not every lesson needs to be shared. Not every person needs your guidance. If someone is foolish, teaching them can backfire. Your words, meant to help, can become a weapon for their anger. You try to lift them, and they push you down. You try to guide them, and they make you their enemy. It is not weakness to step back. It is not selfishness to protect yourself. Life is short, and your energy is precious. You cannot change someone who refuses to change. You cannot teach someone who refuses to learn. Sometimes the kindest thing is silence, patience, and letting them face their own mistakes. Remember this. Your heart is valuable. Your kindness is powerful. Do not waste it where it will be turned into conflict. Some people will never appreciate your help. Some people will never see the truth, no matter how clearly you show it, and some will make you their enemy just because you tried. This is not a reason to stop helping, but a reason to be wise. Choose carefully whom you teach. Protect your peace. Guard your spirit. Life respects patience, understanding, and discretion. You can guide those ready to learn, but you cannot force the foolish. And when you try, be ready. Sometimes they will make you an enemy. If you try to teach a foolish person, you see someone making a mistake. Maybe it's a friend, a family member, or a coworker. You have good intentions. You want to help. You have knowledge or experience that could save them from trouble. So, you step in and try to teach them the right way. But sometimes, despite your good heart, it backfires. Instead of thanking you, the person gets angry with you. They become defensive. They might even start to see you as an enemy. Why does this happen? The problem is not your intention. The problem is the other person's mindset. A foolish person is often not foolish because they lack information. They are foolish because they lack the wisdom to see that they need to learn. They are often proud, stubborn, or trapped in their own way of thinking. When you try to teach them, they don't hear helpful advice. What they hear is an attack. They think, this person is saying I am wrong. They are saying they are smarter than me. They are trying to make me look bad. Their pride feels threatened. And when a person's pride is threatened, they don't try to learn. They try to fight. They will argue with your facts. They will dismiss your experience. They will turn the situation around and blame you for being bossy or a know-it-all. In the end, you were trying to give them a gift of knowledge, but they received it as an insult. This is why you must be careful. You cannot force wisdom into a mind that is closed. It is like trying to fill a cup that is already full and upside down. Nothing you pour can get in, and you just make a mess. So what should you do? First, ask yourself, does this person actually want to learn? Look for signs. Do they ask questions? Do they admit they don't know something? If not, it is often wiser to stay silent. Second, understand that some lessons must be learned through experience. Sometimes, people need to touch the hot stove themselves to truly believe it's hot. You can warn them, but if they ignore you, you have to let them learn on their own. It is not your job to save everyone from their own choices. Protecting your peace means protecting your relationships too. Constantly trying to correct a foolish person will only drain your energy and create conflict where none was needed. It can destroy friendships and create long-term enemies, all because you tried to help. This doesn't mean you should never help anyone. It means you must choose your moments wisely. Offer advice only once, gently, if you must. If it is rejected, step back. Do not insist. Do not argue. Your peace is more important than winning the argument or proving you are right. Remember, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. And if the horse is foolish, it might just kick you for trying. Don't cast your pearls before swine is the ancient classic way of saying the very same thing. Think of it like this. Your wisdom, good advice, or valuable knowledge are your beautiful, precious pearls. They are something you've created or earned through hard experience. The swine, an old word for pigs, represent the foolish person who cannot understand its value. They are not evil for being pigs. It's just their nature. They live in the mud and are looking for things to eat, not for beauty to admire. If you take a beautiful, shiny pearl and throw it to a pig, what will happen? The pig will not say thank you. It will not admire it. It will probably just sniff it, maybe try to eat it, find it useless, and then trample it into the mud. It might even get annoyed with you for throwing something it can't eat. This is the same as trying to teach a foolish person. You are offering them something precious, your pearl of wisdom, but because of their nature, they cannot see its value. They will trample on your advice, ignore it, and might even turn on you for giving it. Both phrases teach us the same crucial lesson: discernment. It's not about thinking you are better than everyone else. It's about wisely understanding where your energy and gifts will be appreciated and where they will be wasted or even cause you harm. Here's a simple breakdown. Know the value of your pearls, your peace, your knowledge, your good intentions. These are valuable. Protect them. Recognize the swine. This isn't about calling people names. It's about seeing the signs of a closed mind, someone who argues about everything, never admits they're wrong, or always plays the victim. Stop casting. Once you see those signs, stop throwing your pearls. Do not offer more advice. Do not try to explain yourself again. You've already given them a chance, and they trampled it. To keep trying is to disrespect your own pearls. So yes, your insight is perfect. Don't cast pearls before swine is the powerful poetic version of the wisdom you shared. It's a rule for self-preservation, telling us to offer our best selves only to those who have the wisdom to receive it. Don't argue with an idiot. They'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. There is a saying that goes, don't argue with an idiot. They'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. At first, it may sound funny, but it is very true. In life, some people are foolish, stubborn, or just love to argue. They don't care about the truth. They just want to win. When you try to argue with such a person, you might think you are teaching them or proving a point. But the reality is different. A foolish person is used to arguing, lying, or twisting facts. This is their skill. They are experienced in being foolish. You, on the other hand, are not prepared for their tricks. Even if you have the right answers, you can end up looking bad or frustrated. The more you try to fight with them, the more you get pulled into their level. You lose your calm, your patience, and your dignity. You waste your time and energy on something that will never help. The foolish person, however, enjoys this. They have trained themselves to argue without reason. That is why the saying says they will beat you with experience. The lesson is simple. Don't waste your energy on people who are not ready to understand or learn. Choose your battles wisely. Speak to those who are willing to listen. Ignore those who only want to fight. Protect your peace and stay calm. In life, it is better to rise above foolishness than to get trapped in it. You cannot change everyone, and you cannot win every argument. Knowing when to walk away is a sign of true wisdom. Sometimes silence and patience are more powerful than words. At the end of the day, your peace, your dignity, and your mind are more important than proving a point to someone who will never see it.